Oh, well, let's make sure. I think we're good. All right, guys. Hello, everybody. I'm actually playing tonight. As you can see, I'm not listed under the commentators. But Mr. Tyler will be here shortly. Roads are really, really shitty, so they are running a little behind. Yeah. So are a few of the players that are coming tonight, so that's why I'm able to even be back here doing this stuff. But Greg's going to be holding down the fort for mostly. And you guys get to see me on camera game 1.
That'll be great. Lot to critique.
Lots of critique, yes.
Lots of chat
Especially because I did not get to test this deck as much as I wanted to.
Perfect.
So
that's usually when things go best.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple. There's Tyler. Jeez. All right, guys, and just a heads up.
Talking so much shit.
I was talking a lot of shit. All right, guys. So we are having a giveaway tonight. It's going to be this nice, foily, shiny standstill. Trying to get the. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Again, always or currently courtesy of MTG Card Market. They're bringing the stream to you guys tonight. We're streaming from them. Yep. Gracious to host and give us a giveaway to do. So guys, again, if you guys like the giveaways, please go to their Facebook page. Please like it and say, hey, we watch WUBRG and we want to see bigger and better and greater giveaways. All that kind of fun stuff. But, so past that, that's what's going to be happening tonight. PG8, how are you doing? Mangaro, this is a new layout. I apologize, I have not been looking at chat. That's going to be these fuckers' jobs over here.
Yeah.
Tyler's got here. I got to shuffle this because it's completely ordered right now.
That's great.
And so I'm going to bow out. I'm going to let these two gentlemen do what they think they're going to be doing.
Some decks want their deck to be ordered in a certain way. I can move over.
That's true.
It's like Goblin Recruiter, right?
Yeah.
It's like cheating.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Tyler. You have a fun commute here?
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
You drive from what, Oak Park?
No, I actually was on the train, but it was a long time to get home and then a long time to get here.
And one last note, guys. The raffle is going to be completely random. It's really going to be whenever I show up because these guys don't know how to do the raffle. So just stay tuned.
We know how to enter raffles.
Stay tuned, and I will randomly show up at some point.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and sit on the left so you don't have to change any of that shit.
All right. Well, your name is on both.
Well, yes. That's because I'm awesome.
Oh, your deck name is Dirty Water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dirty
I was thinking you could call it Blood. It's like Blue Mud. BLUD.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can have multiple names.
I like Dirty Water.
Okay, that's acceptable.
Dirty Water.
I don't know. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes, please. Thank you, Bowman. Yeah, so we have a pretty cool new layout.
Yes,
I don't know
great.
if you noticed yet. Apparently, we can go over here and gather and search a card.
Really valuable.
And it comes up right here. Because when we don't know cards, which is probably going to happen like every 5 minutes.
Yes.
Especially in Mark's deck.
Fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
Especially in the Dirty Water deck.
Yeah, we're not going to know any of that.
My deck is garbage, and it's and again, 90% untested, so that's going to be really
perfect.
Fun.
Yeah. Sounds great. Managoro in the chat asks if Mark is playing tonight. He is indeed playing.
Indeed.
We are featuring him round 1.
Yeah. He is not playing himself, however, despite the appearance on the screen, but we are going to have him playing.
He'll have a different opponent.
Yes.
It's not just going to be like an existential sort of,
yeah.
What is mud?
Pushing it uphill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be great.
Greetings from Germany. Hi there, Tim SS.
Awesome. Yeah.
SSJ.
People in Europe really like Legacy.
Yeah.
I found that out at GP New Jersey. There were a lot of Europeans there who flew across. It was a good time.
It's almost as easy to get to New Jersey from parts of Europe as it is from California. So.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Jeez.
PG8, not actually playing solitaire. Mark will be playing an opponent, but we will find that out shortly.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to get a list of basically everyone's deck list after like a round or 2.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. Also, if anyone has any issues with like the sound quality, just maybe call it out in the chat because we're using a pretty new microphone tonight. So I know we tried like a headset this past Monday, and they didn't really work so hot.
No.
It was like one of them was like set too high, so it was picking up
feedback.
Yeah, from the other. Yeah. So like no one could hear me, and they could hear Mark extra. I don't know. It sucked, but
yeah.
Enchantress. I think we will have one Enchantress player in the house. It's gonna be Simon Camero.
Ooh, great.
Yeah. He likes that deck a lot. He knows it's not that good, but that's what he has.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready to be enchanted by his wizardry.
We did see him get to win a pretty sweet game this past stream. What was he? He was playing against Show and Tell, maybe? Or no, he was playing against some like Delver deck, and it was just. Simon, who did you play against on camera that you won?
Oh, I played against Rug Delver.
Rug Delver? Oh yeah, that was not close.
Nice little quiet Managoro.
Might just be me a little quiet.
Okay.
Let's try just get real close. Someone's in there. Yeah. So have you been playing any Magic recently?
A little bit. Not as much as I'd like.
Yeah.
But, no.
What formats?
A little Legacy here and there. Some Blue-Red Delver, just because not playing very often, it's easy to pick up.
Yeah.
But,
any Standard lately?
No, sadly. But it seems very exciting, so I've been watching plenty of it.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's pretty good right now.
Yeah.
I'm playing in a PTQ on Sunday, so we'll see how that goes.
I was considering that. Yeah. It's, the Open last weekend was really great. Like it.
Yeah. 3
blue whites in the top 8,
That's
but otherwise
fine.
really diverse.
I like when deck with like 12 rares in it, most of which are lands, can win a Standard tournament. Like that's sweet. I like decks full of commons.
All right, $40 deck.
Yeah, mostly draft like a very good draft deck, basically.
Yep. Yeah, very good draft deck.
Yeah. Like a whole bunch of first picks, but still.
Yep.
It's like one of the last like normal PTQs as well.
Right.
It's going the way of the dingo.
Yeah, the new format rolling in.
Yeah.
Rolling in hard.
I'm kind of scared how many people they're gonna get because Hot Sauce actually changed the location. It was supposed to be, I think, at their store, and they moved it to Rosemont.
Okay.
And like rented a hotel space out, and like I imagine it's because they are expecting like a crap ton of people.
Yeah.
So
winner takes all at 350 people will not be very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Isn't there a GP though in
Omaha
or something this
hopefully
weekend?
that's a good draw away.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many people are gonna want to drive like 6 or 7 hours in this kind of weather. But
for those of you who aren't sure, especially our European followers, we are, I don't know, minus some degrees here in Chicago tonight.
Yeah.
The weather's been made travel difficult. So yeah, the GP only theoretically a handful of hours away might be too much.
Right. When I was walking to the train this morning, there's like a college that I pass, and they have a billboard saying the temperature, and it was -5.
Yeah.
That was at like 8 a.m.
Right. That's before the wind. So.
Yeah. So it felt great.
Yep.
Terrific.
Alpal BP stream might be a little laggy. Sounds like it is for a few people here.
Well, if it persists, let us know, and we'll tell Mark, and he'll do something to fix it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, all right, so we know Mark is playing round 1 on camera because he's usually talking instead of playing.
Yes.
So we gotta feature him, even if he doesn't do well. But I think we're just waiting on round 1 pairings, basically, so we just don't know who he's playing against yet.
Okay. Epic Man, we're just about to start momentarily. We got some players here, so we're gonna cut off away from our faces and.
Looks like he has an opponent. Someone's sitting with him at least. Coming out of the booth.
All right.
Sorry. So we have some shuffling. We might have to go get deck. Yeah. All right. Thanks. All right. So the clock is starting now, which I will do. Yes. Piece of paper. Voila. All right. So we have Mark McManus. He's playing a blue variant of Mud. He's trying out some interesting cards. He borrowed some from me, including 2 Force of Wills. I think he's playing more than 2 in the whole deck. But I'm not sure if he's playing the full 4. I think his opponent is Ned, judging by his hand. Nope, that's not Ned. That is definitely not Ned. All right, we'll get the opponent and the deck updated very quickly. Once Tyler comes back from getting all of the pairings for round 1. Just a print off from the tournament organizers. Thank you, Tyler. I know this guy. I've played against him a million times, and I always forget his name.
Well,
Dominic, right.
Mark's going to be in for a little bit of a fit, I think, because Veteran Explorers are coming out to play.
Oh.
On the other side.
How do you spell his last name?
Dottdrrer.
Okay.
Lots of doubles.
Cool. All right, so he's playing Nick Fit?
Nick Fit.
Okay.
I didn't see any other colors besides just green and black, but
okay.
Maybe we'll get excited.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing Veteran Explorer, you might as well dabble.
Right. I think I've seen him play red and blue maybe at different points in the past. So
jeez. Okay.
At different points.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Thank you. Great. So as we go, we can fill in some of the deck names that we know, especially like between rounds.
Yeah.
All right. So I think some key cards in this matchup, I guess for Dominic at least, just Veteran Explorer and being able to get out from under something like Trinisphere pretty quickly is really important. And for Mark, it's I think it might be a matter of like not drawing too many things, like too many Chalice of the Voids, too many Trinispheres, because they're not that great in this matchup.
Right. Dominic's already prepared to cast 5, 6, 7 mana spells.
Yeah, he can go kind of as maybe not quite as big as Mark, but he can do it quickly.
Yep. Will be interesting to see really the texture of their hands. You know, it could be that being on the play is really critical, and it could also be that they have slow hands.
Yeah, it could be kind of like two ships passing the night because they're doing such different things.
Right.
And also, I mean, with Mark's deck, like, you know, like we think about Mud, like the deck that top-aided GP New Jersey, but this is not that deck.
Right.
All right, so we have a Swamp and a Thoughtseize from Dominic to lead off the game, dropping to 18, and we see Mark's hand, which looks a little sketchy because it doesn't have blue mana, but he can cast Phyrexian Revoker at least.
Yeah, he does have an Ancient Tomb, which is nice to start out.
It is. The problem with Revoker very early in the game, unless it's like some of the time it's just not that clear what to name yet.
Right.
And against a deck like Nick Fit, they have so many like one-ofs and stuff.
Right.
If they don't have a permanent already in play, it's hard to kind of just like guess in the dark.
Yeah, Liliana seems like a reasonably safe choice, but
sure.
Like you said, there's another dozen cards in the deck that could matter.
Have activated abilities.
Yeah. Yep. Thoughtseize a nice start though for Dominic as opposed to Cabal Therapy or something like that. Since I'm sure he knew that Mark, being well known for dirty water, is on Mud, but
not many of these cards go in normal Mud.
Right.
Like barely any of them really.
We can see Dominic inspecting one here. What is that actually, Greg? Can you tell?
Which card?
The card he's looking at.
Oh,
here.
that is a Master Transmuter.
Ah.
We can actually use Gatherer.
All right.
Our first time. So guys, this is part of the new functionality that Mark's designed for the stream. Whoa! Perfect. Master Transmuter, a 1/2 for 4 mana.
Yes.
So some good stats. Pay a blue and tap it. Return an artifact you control to its owner's hand. So if you steal their artifact, you can return it to their hand, I guess. That's not the main use, though, because what it really is doing is letting you cheat a fatty into play by putting an artifact card from your hand onto the battlefield.
All right.
So maybe pick up Phyrexian Revoker and pick up or put down Blightsteel Colossus.
Yeah, that'd be an easy game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like Mark going on at 18 here for this Revoker.
I don't really know what he held up to the camera.
No.
Did anyone in the chat see? If not, we can run out. It might not be relevant, or it might be Deathrite Shaman. I think that's like the card I would name in the dark.
Yeah. He's at 18 now. I'll go find out.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Tyler. We can switch spots so I can be the runner later. Alright, players even at 18 life. Going back to Dominic's turn, he has Cabal Therapy, and now he has a decision of whether he wants to take a card with blue mana in it, basically. Do you know what it's naming?
Yeah, Mark went ahead and named Liliana.
Okay, alright. So the card that you thought.
There you go.
Alright, and it looks like Dominic named Master Transmuter, or no, Fabricate, sorry. He took Master Transmuter with the Thoughtseize. Okay. I think that makes sense, because like, he didn't know that Mark necessarily had the blue mana yet, but you figure if his draw comes together at all, he will find it. And it looks like Mark did draw an island? No, maybe not.
Good old Academy runes.
3 mana and a Staff of Domination here.
Has to be one of the just one of the coolest cards.
It does a
out
lot
there.
of things.
It does.
I feel like I should pull this up as well.
Yeah.
Anyone who's a big EDH fan is probably familiar with this card.
Easy way to just win the game with infinite mana.
Yeah.
Of course, usually with infinite mana you don't need that much, but
whatever.
Staff does it all.
Yeah.
Infinite life, infinite cards.
Why not?
Why not?
We got a reader. But to be fair, I would be reading it too.
Yes.
And I did search on Gatherer to do exactly that.
I would probably read it multiple times with 5 activated abilities.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one.
It's a little to take in.
Yeah. Yep.
Wish Dominic had a Phyrexian Revoker of his own. That'd be pretty effective naming Staff.
Yeah. Yeah, Staff unlikely to do much for a while here, but
really, Mark, I guess, is looking for like Metalworker.
Right.
Because if Mark has an active Metalworker and 3 artifacts in hand, he can generate infinite mana and infinite untaps, hence with Staff itself, draw through his own deck, gain as much life as he wants.
Not a bad deal.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yep. If he does have the Metalworker, probably fairly easy for him to get those 3 artifacts that he needs.
Indeed. All right, Dominic dropping down to 17. It is chilly back here.
It is a little chilly, yeah.
All right, let's see what he's got.
Could be a Thrun, yeah.
Thrun, okay.
Yeah.
That hits hard.
Yep. Mark unable to tap it or anything like that.
Yeah, that's awkward. It looks like he's flashing back Cabal Therapy, sacrificing his Deathrite Shaman. So he's just aggressively going after Mark's hand here.
And with 2 cards in hand, which I don't know that we've gotten a peek at it, I could see him sacrificing that Therapy. He may... I would guess he has no real other top end to curve out to and wants to try to put Mark in the squeeze.
So he took away Staff of Staff of Nin, sorry.
Yeah.
Mark being Staff Tribal with this draw. But
Mark could really use a land here.
He could.
Or a Metalworker.
It looked like he drew an island, I think. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Island for Mark, and this is probably an Ethereum Sculptor.
Yep.
All right, not exactly the order he'd like to draw these things in, but what can you do?
Yep. Sculptor can chump block, worst case.
That's true. And he could also, he's probably not going to want to do it yet, but at some point he might activate Academy Ruins to put like the Staff of Nin maybe back on top of his deck.
Sure.
The question at this point, I guess, is can Dominic apply more pressure?
Yeah.
Thrun getting in for 4.
I mean, hitting for 4 a turn is going to be nice, but Mark can chump block a couple turns. Dominic's a long way from really killing him, and
right.
Mark only has 4 mana to use with his draws, but with the Sculptor it's almost 5, and a Forge Master could come down right off the top here.
That would be very good. Got some cards flicked.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Sculptor does not make the Staff even better, but
yeah,
that would be a little unfair, I think. Untap for free.
Spike-Mo commenting that he loves that dirty water.
Yes, that dirty water.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Mark known for his love of this trashy deck.
Yeah.
Tybucks, anything spicy in this Nick Fit deck? We're not sure yet. I didn't get a peek at anything, but we were saying a little earlier, Dominic has been known to splash some red for, I think, for Punishing Fires.
Okay.
And then blue for maybe Jaces in the past. So,
Sure.
When you can sack Veteran Explorer and get 2 lands, why not just splash a powerful Planeswalker?
It'll work.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Mark playing another Ethereum Sculptor.
Yes.
So he's going to get really blown out by Bile of Light.
Right. But to your point now, he can play the Staffin in should he return it.
That's true.
In a couple turns here. So.
Yeah, I wonder if he will take that path.
Yeah.
Because it'll take he might need to try to draw out something to just deal with Thrun, but
yeah,
I guess he has some chump blockers. He might be able to. Be willing to set that up. Really, the hexproof is screwing him here, though.
Right.
Not being able to tap down the attacker.
Yep.
Looks like Mark just took that attack, though. Falling to 8.
Yep. And with the Deathrite Shaman, you know, it has enough damage to kill Mark in a couple turns. You know, of course, there's a couple chump blockers, but
yeah, that is something to be careful of.
Yeah.
Right now there are 2 instants and sorceries and graveyards total, so sort of 4 damage already sitting on the table potentially. And also Ancient Tomb. It's a shock waiting to happen.
Tybuck's calling out perhaps a Dark Depths and Green Sun Zenith in Dominic's deck. Yeah, Green Sun Zenith definitely an inclusion.
Sounds good.
Dark Depths, why not, I suppose.
Yeah.
Veteran Explorer is basic lands only, or is it?
Yeah.
It is, right?
Yeah,
So.
it has that horrible drawback.
Yep. That horrible drawback.
It would be pretty great if it could get non-basics.
Yep. Hello,
Right.
Cook the Fourth. Welcome. Hookah Booga Lakatu.
Lots of cooks.
Too many cooks.
We have Mark drawing another Ancient Tomb. A bit awkward at the moment because anything higher up the curve is just going to leave Mark dead to this Deathrite Shaman.
Yep.
I wonder if Mark could go back several turns if he would have waited with Revoker, because he could have named Deathrite.
Yep.
Obviously, just with the way Dominic's draw panned out, you know, like hindsight, you know, but still makes you wonder.
Yep. Collective, lots of good suggestions for you if you're new to the game here in the chat. Legacy is certainly a little bit of a difficult entry point for the game. Lots of different cards in play, but we'll do our best here. And like Greg mentioned earlier, we've got our nifty tool where we can pull up some cards on the screen. So feel free to shout out if you're not sure what a card does, and we'll let you know.
I guess at this point in the game, the most relevant card might be this Deathrite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looks like we have a chump block on Thrun from Mark. He
Yeah.
feels like he can't fall any lower on life, which I think I agree with.
Yeah.
I might have chumped a turn sooner, because at this point he's kind of locked himself into not really being able to use the Ancient Tombs effectively.
Yeah.
I suppose that Ethereum Sculptor is being around is sort of like a version of that anyway, but
Looks like Mark going to gain a life here. A powerful way to spend his
that's
turn.
good. Why not? Going up to 9. I mean,
It's unused mana.
Not being at 8 is relevant.
Yes, yeah. It's almost an extra turn with the Deathrite.
Alright, let's see what Mark can draw. Something that could pull him out of this situation, it would be something like Wormcoil Engine, I think.
Yeah, Mark willing to take 2 here, so it looks like...
Maybe this is a Forge Master?
Yeah.
Something for 5 mana? Oh,
Ooh, a
Batterskull. That's pretty good.
Yes.
I see that Dominic has a Dark Depths in his hand.
Yeah. Unlikely to do much here.
So do you think that means he's playing neither Reliquary?
That would be a good guess. That would certainly make some sense here. That then he can fetch out that and the Thespian stage.
Right. At a pretty low cost.
You're right.
Alright, we have a Morph on a Batterskull. Or just, you know, a token, whatever.
Would like to think that's a germ token, folks. That is not actually a morph, for those of you who are a little confused. Although the new card, is it Mystery, or what's the
mechanic?
Yeah,
I know
name
what you
of the other morph.
Sure, what's it called?
Those of you out in the chat with
Manifest?
Manifest, there you go.
I don't really know why it's called that.
Yeah, a Batterskull, manifesting a Batterskull would be some fun.
That would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. I don't know about that morph. Green Sun X equals 2.
Yes.
Is this going to get Kasali Pride Mage to blow up? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something here with a potential white splash. We haven't seen it yet, but getting it for 2 would make some sense, and there you are.
I know my shit, Tyler.
Yeah, I can tell. It's very, very solid.
So probably just means I watch too much Legacy.
Mark, unfortunately, not able to return his Batterskull to his hand if Dominic goes for this.
Mm-hmm.
But it does mean that Dominic's not going to be able to use Deathrite Shaman this turn.
Right.
Which is a little bit of a benefit.
One thing he, I guess he couldn't really do it this turn. If he had one more land, he could have, because doesn't Green Sun Zenith go to the graveyard and then shuffle in?
I don't think so.
Let me check that.
No,
I'm
I think
curious.
it's part of the resolution of the spell, but
Okay.
we'll bring it up here.
I just want to double check that he couldn't, like, cast it, then shuffle your library, shuffle Green Sun Zenith. Okay, it never goes to the graveyard. My fault.
No.
That would have been neat if you could do that.
Yeah. Sasquatch asking about the guy playing with his cards upside down. It is unusual, but not not that unheard of. Some players kind of grow up doing that, and others might do it for some mind games. In Dominic's case, I don't really know which, but
Yeah. So did Mark fall to 3 on that attack?
It looks like he's considering a block here.
Oh, okay, so we still have attacks. I wonder if he declared the Thrun attack and then popped Pride Mage before blocks to get the Exalted trigger.
Yeah, he certainly should have, but...
Yeah.
Did Dominic take an extra 1 here from... Yeah. In either case,
All
Mark's
right.
going to scoop him up.
Too many Ancient Tombs, not enough islands.
Not enough islands.
Alright, moving to game 2.
Yes.
Match record label? That has to be what I'm looking for.
So sideboarding here for going into this game, going to be a little hard without some deck lists to estimate sort of what the sideboarding plans are. Both of these decks can really support a wide range of cards, as can most Legacy decks, but sort of these in particular, especially Dominic with the white splash, could have a number of things. I'd expect Dominic to bring in plenty of artifact hate.
Yeah. He might have, like, he probably just has some Zenith targets.
Right.
You know, maybe another Pride Mage or like a Rex Sage, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mark is probably trying to take out stuff like Chalice the Void from his deck, I would think.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that strong. And on the play, it could be defensible. You
That's
can
true.
stop Deathrite in the discard.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. I guess he can take out, and maybe instead of Chalice, he can take out Trinisphere, because that seems less effective.
Right.
At least Chalice, like, actually turns off cards.
Right. And Deathrite on the discard, you know, are solid even later in the game.
Right.
So.
That makes sense. He probably also just wants to load up his deck with as many of his own threats as possible. Stuff like, I know Mark has in the past played stuff like Steel Hellkite.
Sure.
I know he had sleeved up a Sundering Titan. That might have been in the main deck, but yeah, that's good clean living.
Yeah, good. It really is. Especially against a 3-color deck with plenty of basic lands. Just nerf them.
Just get them.
Yeah. Yep.
Chat really loves my dorkiness.
Oh, that's all right. Your dorkiness nailed the Green Sun Zenith target with no evidence of white in the deck yet, so
Thank you.
we're doing well.
I think I know this person as well.
Yeah.
Ex Sasquatch in the chat really likes me as a
Yeah.
person. Let's see, what do we got going on? What are they talking about Thursday in the chat? I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah. I think they're talking a little bit about Moto crashing.
Oh.
I was having some trouble this week after
Do you-
Monday trying to play a little bit on there, yeah.
Do you play a decent amount?
I played a lot during the Holiday Cube.
Okay.
It was hard to resist.
Yeah.
That's a Black Lotus. That's fun.
Yeah, I got to live vicariously a little through other people's drafts.
Okay.
Just like going over to my friend's house and watching and telling him what to pick.
Yeah.
But did you have any particularly sweet ones?
I had some really, really nice Tezzeret decks with just tons of mana. I think in one I had 2 Moxes and a Black Lotus, which just felt very spoiled.
Yeah.
Very spoiled.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mark would have loved that.
Yeah. I did have Time Walk cast against me 4 times in one game, though, and that, I lost. I lost that game.
How does that happen even?
Snapcaster and Time Spiral. So, Time Spiral brought it back, and then, there was a Time Twister, and then a Snapcaster.
How much
So.
was your strategy? Hopefully they time themselves out?
Yeah, it didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
It's worth a shot. It's always worth a shot.
Yeah. So
That's
it was one of those you just
gross.
sit back and enjoy the spectacle because
Yeah. This is a limited format.
right. Yep.
It's pretty cool. I think the best deck that I got to be a part of was a Birthing Pod / Survival of the Fittest deck.
Ooh, fantastic.
It was just, a whole bunch of utility creatures, and it was pretty great.
Yeah.
Siege Gang Commander is really, really good with Birthing Pod.
Yes.
You just start going up the curve again.
Yeah.
We didn't have any combos, but we just had like Thundermaw Hellkite. It's fine.
Good enough. Yeah. Siege King continues to be a deceptively good card. I think on the surface it's a 2/2 for 5, but
Yeah, but it's also a 4 for 1.
tons of power. Tons of power. Looks like both players, at least Dominic has a reasonable hand here. Some lands, Thoughtseize. Not clear what Mark has, but it looks like he's going to go with it.
Yep. All right, a pretty innocuous start. Island go, Swamp, Thoughtseize. So Dominic leaving in discard, which seems like the thing to do.
Yeah.
So we have a pretty high mana curve in Mark's hand.
With essentially 3 basic lands.
Seems like he's pretty reliant on the Master Transmuter living here, but it seems like it might be the card that gets taken.
Yeah.
I think that card
in the middle?
In the middle is a Fabricate with alternate art.
I believe you're right.
I believe. If anyone in the chat could confirm that that is indeed Fabricate, that would be great, because I don't think Gather is going to give us alternate art.
No, it unlikely to.
Yeah.
Hopefully Dominic will take it and we'll be spared the misery of wondering.
Yeah.
Since it is, if it is a Fabricate, the only card that Mark can cast, it is likely to be what he selects.
Yeah, Mark's hand is really, really hurting for an Ancient Tomb.
Yep.
But if he draws it, then it's great.
If he did live in the Chalices, it looks like Dominic's got a Sensei's Divining Top in his hand, so a Chalice here off the top would be kind of nice.
That looks like it was a Fabricate, I think. It's hard to know. Nope. It's a spell. Okay. He's thrown scissors onto the battlefield. We'll see if Dominic has the rock to destroy the...
So we have is that a 5/5 Seed of the Synod?
That is a 5/5 Seed of the Synod.
All right.
That is going to be getting frisky next turn.
Fantastic.
Good grief.
So for those of you who have never seen a Seed of the Synod win the game,
it can do so
yes.
via this card, Ensoul Artifact. I had to think about the name for a second.
For a modest 2 mana, you get yourself a 5/5 on your artifact.
Kasali Pride Mage would be a bit of a blowout.
Indeed. just really take it to Mark.
Also, Swords to Plowshares would be a blowout.
Interesting that Dominic didn't play the top here. He may have an Abrupt Decay or something like that in his hand.
I wonder if he knows that, because Decay can't hit lands. I mean, he can decay the Ensoul Artifact, but it's not a 2-for-1.
All right. Mark gonna just really... Oh.
Mark not even attacking.
No, choosing instead for the Metal Worker.
Metal Worker... I mean, this deck used to be called Metal Worker at times.
I think I like this play. Despite the fact that it probably is going to get Abrupt Decay here, it means that his 5/5 could just take it down. And Dominic might be in a squeeze here where he can't let the Metal Worker live, but he may not have another answer to the 5/5. Yeah,
Dominic not playing out a creature or anything on his second turn probably smells pretty fishy to Mark. So I think that just casting another spell instead of trying to attack for 5 makes a lot of sense.
Right. Right, if he attacks, Dominic kills the Ensoul Artifact, and Mark passes the turn.
Yeah, it's Time Walk.
Very tough, yeah.
Alright, it looks like Abrupt Decay going after Metal Worker, which seems good against Mark's very expensive hand. So let's see what Dominic can put together for his third turn. See, he draws a Deathrite Shaman.
The Zig's suggesting Darksteel Citadel in a deck like Mark's, especially with Ensoul Artifact. Darksteel Citadel, the indestructible land.
I would think that Mark actually is probably playing some amount of them. I think Seed of Synod is probably just in addition to those.
Well, Liliana here would be... Ooh,
it would be brutal. That's what Mark was anticipating, I think. E-Witness getting back Abrupt Decay.
Yep.
Okay. Passing back. Oh, Dominic's also
17,
at 17.
Yeah.
You're right.
So Mark with no shortage of islands in this game.
Yeah, I think he has 9 in the deck.
Okay.
This is also attack for 5. Seeing if Dominic's blocking here.
Yeah, I suspect Dominic's willing to take this hit.
Yeah.
He knows 2 cards in Mark's hand. Oh, all right.
All right. Fabricate. See what Mark's going for.
He did know the full hand, right? He did know the Fabricate was there.
I think so. Yeah, the Fabricate was there from turn 1 when he thought seized.
Yep.
Mark might be putting aside some cards to choose from. It probably depends on whether or not he has another land in his hand, because I could see him going and getting Master Transmuter right now because he knows he can cast it next turn.
Right.
As long as his seat doesn't get blown up.
I think he's just got the 2 cards, the Batter Skull and the Blightsteel.
Okay. So getting a way to make the Blightsteel matter would be nice. He also knows that his opponent has Abrupt Decay in hand, so he can't just get Metal Worker.
Right.
And one of the nice things about Master Transmuter is that it gets around. Yeah, okay. It gets around Abrupt Decay.
So nice call there. So Mark, unless there's another way for Dominic to actually kill the seat itself. Should be able to cast that Master Transmuter next turn and follow it up in a couple turns with a Blightsteel, and then follow it up with an attack for the win. So
let's hope that's good enough.
We will see.
Some things that could put a damper on that include Liliana the Veil, more discard. Looks like Dominic's drawn a Thoughtseize. Right,
so. In fact, half of Dominic's deck probably interrupts this.
Yeah. Best laid plans, Mark.
Yes.
Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
This 5/5 is going to keep hitting him,
right,
unless it gets Abrupticate this turn.
If Dominic is able to draw, or excuse me, if Mark is able to draw land, Batterskull should be pretty solid here, at least buying him some time. Mark is under no pressure, and
definitely.
He has enough actual mana to, or is close to enough actual mana to cast many of his impactful cards.
Yeah, Dominic's hand being so reactive is actually pretty good for Mark.
Yep.
All told. So I wonder if he's going to, yeah. So he's leaving up mana that he can Abrupt Decay with. I imagine he'll go after the Ensoul Artifact because he doesn't want to be on a 3-turn clock.
Yeah. And with this attack, I almost could consider using the top and just trying to draw some gas. Mark can't play the Batterskull as a follow-up, and
yeah, unless he drew a Soul Land, of course.
Sure, sure.
That's only so many draws in the deck.
Yep. The safer play, what you recommended, just protecting his life total. Oh, and there is the Soul Land. All right.
Played against Mark a lot.
Easy game when you draw the tomb.
Yeah.
But to be fair, he probably would have liked it any number of turns before.
Right. Yeah, that turn worked out decently well for Mark. I mean, he's not that far ahead, really. It's really just whether or not Dominic can deal with this Batterskull, and then if he can, then he's very far ahead. Because Mark has a card that he cannot cast in his hand, being Blightsteel Colossus.
Yeah.
Dominic looking through Mark's graveyard. I wonder what that...
Could be a surgical extraction.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd bother bringing that in this match.
Not clear that
Who knows
that's
what's
really
in the
where
deck.
you want to be. No.
Might see a top activation in the upkeep here.
Yep.
Yep, looks like that's what we're seeing. One thing these players do need to keep in mind is that they're not really close to finishing game 2, and they only have about 20 minutes left in the round.
Yep.
And one of the worst offenders in long legacy matches is the card in play, Sensei's Divining Top.
Yes, indeed. Banned from the extended formats of old for its...
Just for gameplay.
Yes. Untenable.
Alright.
British Steed, okay.
It's pretty good here.
Yeah.
If you can get a 5th land, but obviously Mark can play around the deed to some extent by holding up 3 mana.
Yep.
Mark crashing in for 4, sending Dominic down to 10, and Mark soaring up to 22.
Yep.
Chat getting on Mark for shaking his legs.
Yeah, he's just keeping it moving. He's running. You know,
trying
when you're
stay nimble.
He's treading in that dirty water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprised not to see Dominic. You activate his top here. He may have wanted to draw land and kill the Batterskull, but Mark is going to have no trouble returning it either way. And
yeah, it's kind of just like a fog.
Right. Just killing the germ is almost good enough. So.
Yeah.
I suppose a 5th land in the past would force Mark to play almost... it would make it harder for Mark to play a spell on his next turn, but...
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't do a whole lot, Frank. Like, just really Dominic not having much of a offensive board presence has really hurt him this game. Like, Thrun did a lot of work last game.
Yep.
Just being a hard-to-deal-with threat. Something like... Scavenging Ooze is not bad here. So that's, I guess, what he was asking about with the graveyards earlier.
Yep, so at least a couple cards in a couple creatures in Mark's graveyard, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should have a Master Transmuter, a Metalworker, we can see.
Yeah.
I think 2 Master Transmuters, actually, right?
Yeah. Managora, you were talking about Mark being close to casting that Blightsteel. Looks like now he has 10 mana in play, so...
Awfully close.
One additional land, and the old hard-cast Blightsteel could be coming out.
There.
The deed does kill the city here.
So he floated mana from the seat, because Because Dominic popped the Pernicious Deed.
Yep.
Looks like he popped it for 0, actually.
Yep.
So that let him keep his Scavenging Ooze.
I actually don't like that city play now that the seed is dead, because Mark actually needs 2 more mana now, which could make it harder for him to actually get it into play with the city.
Right. Yeah, maybe playing the land post-combat would have been better.
Yeah, or just holding it for...
Right.
If he draws an island, he would be able to follow it up with the city. And but
yeah, because right now he has 9 mana represented.
Yeah. In any case, Scavenging Ooze is going to gain Dominic a couple life. Go up to a 4/4 so he can battle with that Germ token.
Doesn't look like he has... Oh, there it goes. The dream is dead until he draws again.
Yeah.
Alright, Thoughtseize taking away the Blightsteel Colossus, which triggers and shuffles into Mark's deck.
Yep. Oof. Dominic going to follow it up with the Deathrite Shaman, and it looks like Dominic also has a Thragtusk in his hand, so Mark's going to need some draws here pretty quickly.
Yeah, and Dominic's deck is probably somewhat more threat dense than Mark's, because like stuff like Green Sun Zenith is such a good draw at this point in the game.
Yep.
Senacious asks, Mark is not here? Mark is actually on camera, so he's kind of here.
Yes.
Or like there, I guess.
He's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are watching him in eager anticipation of some 9-mana spell here.
Some of the best draws Mark could probably have here are stuff like Wormcoil Engine.
Sure. Inkmoth Leviathan would be pretty spicy.
Why not?
Yeah.
So we have an attack from Mark. Looks like Dominic is eating another creature. Growing Skoos up to 5/5. Okay. Mark gained 4.
Yeah.
24. He took some damage off of his 2 Ancient Tombs, though. So he actually stayed at the same life total, 20. But next turn, looks like he's going to put Batterskull on a Wormcoil Engine.
That should work out well.
Yeah.
10/10 Vigilance, Lifelink, Death Touch.
Barring an Exile effect on this Wormcoil, this is looking pretty good for Mark.
Yep.
He also has 3 mana left, so he could bounce Batterskull if something horrible happens.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Good grief, yeah. The Thragtusk seemed like it would do some work, but severely outclassed by a Wormcoil and...
just slightly.
With a Batterskull to boot.
Yeah, why not? Doesn't really need it, but...
No.
Alright, that looks like... I think that's that new card that makes 5/3s, I think? If anyone in the chat has an idea, I believe that is Rafellos. Which one? Maybe not Rafellos. It's one of the Elf. Not that one either. No. If anyone can tell us what that green creature in play on Titania, thank you, Iatsby.
All right, chat chiming in and saving the day here.
Yeah. Titania. Is it Protector of Argoth? Is that the right one? Yes, great. Thank you, chat. So that is that is quite a, actually not that bad here.
Yep.
Dominic cracking a fetch going down to 10.
Yep, and Mark took 2 from the Ancient Tomb to equip the Batterskull.
Okay.
Looks like Dominic's just chump blocking though with his 5/3.
Sure. So Mark gaining 10 life.
Yes.
So Mark not having something like Trample here. I mean, Dominic's going to be able to buy himself some time, but it's also whittling his resources down pretty significantly each turn, it seems like.
Yep. He does have the follow-up Thragtusk, though.
It's true.
Interested to see, because he does have the Thragtusk, that he has no interest in potentially killing the Wormcoil, but... Because I don't really know what his plan is against it if he's not going to kill it.
Yeah, like, chump blocking every turn doesn't really get you that far.
Yeah. A Liliana would be decent. Get it off the table and
Then you just have to deal with some 3/3s slash 7/7s.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It may be that Dominic has some swords in his deck with the white splash, but I'd be surprised.
I know Mark has told me many times that Swords to Plowshares is probably the best card against Mud.
Yeah.
Just the exile effect is so effective against basically all their creatures.
Yeah.
And that's why Chalice on 1 is part of why Chalice on 1 is so important for his deck.
Sure.
We've actually seen this card Titania on camera in weeks past, but it's been in David Gleischer's Maverick, or not David Gleischer's, Greg Pino's Maverick deck.
Okay.
Also in David, actually maybe it's just in Gleischer's pod deck.
Well, I hope this isn't Armageddon. Chat talking about Armageddon,
God.
that would be...
Okay.
Much more reasonable.
Yeah, that would be good. Armageddon. I don't actually know if Armageddon would win here though, because Mark could just sit back on the Vigilant Worm Coil for like a while.
Sure.
I think.
Sure. Attacking with 5/5/3s, that would be close in terms of killing him in one fell swoop. But
that's true.
instead, a Kasali Pride Mage gonna
That's pretty good.
do some work. Interesting, he did it for 3. He may have thought he had another card available to him, but
He might have topped this turn.
oh, okay, sure. Ukabugalakatu talking about how does a Worm Coil even pick up a Battle Skull? I think it slithers around it, sort of like Anaconda style.
That makes sense.
Just snakes it up.
It's never good to think too much about how magic, especially equipment. You can't, like, how does a Squadron Hawk pick up a Sword Feast and Fan? Like,
Sure.
That's not threatening.
No.
So we have Kasali Pride Mage being sacrificed, blowing up Worm Coil Engine, Mark getting 2 tokens, looks like one of which has been equipped.
Yeah, we don't know whether it's the Death Touch or the Lifelink.
That is unfortunate. Mark
I would
also
have-
took 2.
I'd
to
imagine it's the Death
equip.
Touch one, just so that each of them have Lifelink, but...
It also looked like Mark is swinging for 7 here, I think.
I think it was destroyed on the attack.
Oh,
The
okay.
Worm
So he
Coil.
just equipped post combat.
Yeah.
Okay. There has been a lot of life gained and lost in this game.
Yep. Well, you'd mentioned Green Sun Zenith a little bit ago, Greg, and it's certainly pulling its weight there.
Yeah.
Tutoring up a way to deal with the Worm Coil, and I would imagine Dominic has more artifact spells that
Yeah.
a subsequent Green Sun would do the same thing
Like
here.
probably Rex Sage.
Right.
I wonder how many Pride Mages are in the deck too. I would assume it's either 1 or 2, but ooh, Pernicious Deed.
Ooh. Yeah.
That seems acceptable. Yeah, just going for 0 immediately and blowing up the tokens.
Oh, and this game is slipping away from Mark
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Dominic also activating his top.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was something he really wanted to draw on.
I think that fetch land will give him a 5/3 off Titania, and
Oh,
he just wants to
Close it
add as
out.
much pressure as quickly as possible.
sure. Yeah, they only have about 11 minutes left in the round here.
Yep.
Mark taking 2 off of his land to bounce, and he also taking 5, so 7 total. So he should be at 19.
Yep.
From the Scavenging Ooze attack and from picking up Batterskull.
Yep.
2 more from recasting Batterskull. Life total is jumping all over the place, and it looks like a pass of the turn.
Yeah, after the Batter Skull. So Dominic
Yeah.
down to 19 here for a little 5/3.
Very little.
Willing to give up his top for that, but that seems like a straightforward a deal that all 3 of his attacking creatures will kill the germ, and he'll be able to deal some damage.
I wonder what was on top of his deck that he knew about that he really wanted to draw.
I think it was that fetch land,
Okay.
the Marsh Flats, because the Thragtusk is still in his hand, I
Okay.
believe. So
So he just really wanted
yeah.
to trigger his Titania a couple more times, I guess.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, here. I mean, he's only going to deal Mark 6 if he attacks with his 3/5 power creatures. And
Yeah.
Markle, between the lifelink, Markle only takes 6 and actually kill one of them. So I don't know. I'm not sure if giving up the top was really
Worth it.
all that great.
Yeah. It's, I don't know how much Dominic is really netting in damage through these cycles.
Yeah.
Looks
Looks like
like
he
he's
drew a go for the throw potentially, which
So he's blocking a 5/3, so gaining 4, taking 5, so he takes 1 point.
yep.
down to 16.
It is costing Mark 4 damage every time he bounces and replays a Batterskull.
That's true.
So that
Whittling.
Yeah.
It does force Dominic though to generate a consistent string of creatures that will be able to kill a germ token.
Yeah.
Dominic jumping up 5 life here to play Thragtusk, and also adding another, another Deathrite to the board.
The top. The
top. Sorry.
Just naturally drew another top.
Oh, okay, cool.
After shuffling his away, so.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
So Mark choosing not to bounce his first Batterskull because
he has another.
Who needs it?
He probably, if he has a mana, he could. Oh, he doesn't. He could have equipped.
Unfortunately, no double lifelink.
Yeah,
but,
no 8/8. He might do that next turn though. He might wait a turn on blocking if he can afford to. Actually, I guess he actually can't afford to not.
Yeah, fetch line from Dominic here is tough.
It seems pretty good.
Yeah.
This is an attack for 10. He's not giving up his Titania yet.
No.
Looks like Mark is blocking Thragtusk, so taking a total of 1 point of life.
And I gotta imagine that Dominic's gonna attack with Titania next turn.
Yeah, after generating this last 5/3 with his Verdant.
Yep.
That makes sense.
We will see. For those of you who heard that, coffee's ready, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, it's not for us, don't worry.
No.
We're going to get nice and groggy later. Full day of work, 4 hours of talking about Magic.
Easy day.
Yeah.
It's a good, clean living.
Yeah. Just another day in January and -5-degree temperature. Mark dropping down to 9 life to replay a Batterskull. And Phyrexian Invoker, I would imagine naming Deathrite Shaman at this point.
Yeah. Would be kind of spicy to catch the Verdant Catacombs, but...
So I think Dominic is activating Deathrite in response to the spell.
Yeah. Getting that Warm Coil, it looks like.
Yeah, so Dominic jumping up 2 life.
Oh, actually choosing...
Maybe not.
Not really
What
clear
is he
what's
going
happening.
after? Alright, we think...
Those are probably creatures for the Scavenging Ooze.
Oh, I see. All right.
4 creatures.
So Dominic jumped. So 2 from Deathrite and a lot from Skoos. 4/3.
Yep.
7? He has 7 counters. Did you just exile 5 cards?
Yeah.
All right. Because there were 3 counters already on it, so he jumped up 4. Sorry.
Tyvex, I think, good catch. I do think Dominic did miss some damage by not eating the Warm Coil a while ago. He probably a few turns, or at least 1 turn a while ago, where he had a spare mana.
Yeah.
With the Deathrite Shaman, but Dominic's been playing pretty quickly for the last, I don't know, 8 or 10 minutes here.
Yeah, he knows he just needs to close out the game.
Yeah, the big advantage, and if things turn south, wants to be able to finish the game 3, but
right.
That looks unlikely here.
Yeah, at this point, it just seems like a matter of closing things out. So I imagine that Mark wound up naming Deathrite with the Revoker, I would think.
Yeah.
Attacking for a lot here.
And I'm surprised not to see the Beast or the 5/3 come in here.
Yeah, because he's pretty much priced into blocking this giant guy.
Right, the 9/9.
Yeah.
Which we believe would just kill Mark.
Mark gaining 4 from the lifelink, but taking 5 from the 5/3, so he's taken 1.
Oof, and another Pernicious Deed.
Why not? Dominic has drawn, I think, 3 Pernicious Deeds this game.
Yes.
He might be playing the full 4. Card is very good, and Nick fits one of the few decks that really makes great use of it.
Yep. Since he's Divining Top, certainly help with fetch lines, helping him find those. But
yeah.
City hitting the bin.
Yeah, floating 2, so he has 4, 5 floating.
Where are Mark's Oblivion Stones? Doesn't he have some of those? Or is he Oblivion Stoneless?
I think he might be.
Oof.
This looks like a double equip. Mark taking 4 damage to do so, though. Not 74, 4. and attacking for 10, it looks like.
Yep. Unfortunately for Mark, Pernicious Deed for 2, gonna close him out here.
Yep. Yep, that looks like the game. Alright, too many deeds.
Too many deeds.
Our gallant leader has fallen.
Yes.
So I've seen this matchup before, and I think it went Nick Fit's way as well. It seems like Pernicious Deed's just really, really good against Mark's deck.
Yeah.
We can take it back to the booth now.
Yeah, the versatility from Green Sun Zenith providing some nice set of answers, and Nick Fit prepared to sort of go, you know, just some haymaker after haymaker, which usually Mud is trying to sort of outclass people after the first few turns. But
Indeed. Yeah, Mud's really banking on its just denial plan of being, like, mattering, basically. And if it doesn't, it's kind of threat light, and it doesn't have a lot of manipulation, I guess.
Right. Looks like there was a chalice stranded in Mark's hand there at the end, so
Yeah.
he kept them in and drew them at the wrong time. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he, like, boarded out, like, 1 or 2.
Sure.
There are a decent amount of 1-mana spells to turn off, but flooding on them is pretty ineffectual.
Yeah, the second chalice in this matchup, not really worth much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like you have to have it on turn 1 or something.
Yeah.
But
well, we may see if we can get a second we have about 10 minutes or so. Oh, 2 minutes.
No,
2 minutes.
Yeah, we're
right,
gonna be turning over the round very soon.
All right.
And while we're between rounds, for anyone who wasn't here when the cast started, Mark was in the booth before going out and playing, and he showed this very nice little card, which I will show to the camera. That's a foil standstill from Odyssey, and our host for the night, MTG Card Market, has been gracious enough to donate this to the stream, and Mark is going to pop back in the booth sometime later in the night, and we're going to do a giveaway, and you guys should stick around because you all have a shot at getting this just for entering.
Just for being here. Yeah.
We've had a lot of giveaways basically every Thursday, sometimes on our Monday streams as well, and they're awesome. People seem to like them.
Yep.
I wonder why. Free stuff, whatever.
MTG Card Market in Chicago, nice store for any of you close by enough to make it out here. But
yeah.
And this standstill much shinier in person than it appears in the camera. So really a flashy, nice card.
It's hard to catch the light here.
Yeah.
I'll try to do a better job.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Oh, there you go. There it is.
There you go.
Whew.
Yeah.
Look at that thing glisten.
Yeah. Don't. I hope I didn't hurt anyone's eyes.
Fearless leader.
Mark has joined us.
Yeah.
I think he got deeded too many times.
Well, it wasn't even deeded. It was just he was playing
Thoughtseize.
slow, and I was trying to get him to speed up, and I missed the fact that he had Deathrite Shaman on the board.
Sure.
Because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, it happens.
Battlesphere was on top, though.
Oh, that would have been spicy.
It would have been.
That's a lot of things to put Batter Skull on.
And a lot of things just to block with, so.
Sure.
We had a lot of folks rooting for your Blightsteel, and then that Thoughtseize came, and it was despair spread across the world.
I knew that wasn't going to cast, though, because I was sitting, he had Deed out on 0, and I had 10 mana with the seat, but the seat was going to go away. So I was like, that's 2 more land, and 2 of the mana were city. So like I played the city knowing full and well, but I figured I'd hit Sundering Titan or Battlesphere or Staffinen or Spine of Ishah, anything.
Yeah, whatever.
Yep.
Urborian or Uroborian in the chat asks which night is busier for us, Mondays or Thursdays, because he or she lives 2 hours away, and I'm curious. To be honest, it's really hard to say. Like, it's kind of week to week. Any given night, either store could get 20 people. Sometimes, I'd say the average is like 16, probably.
I'd say Thursdays are probably a little bit busy.
A little more?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Mondays people are like settling back into the week. Also, the store is a little further north, a little further away from the center of Chicago, so it's a little more out of the way for some percentage of the people who live in the area. I don't know if you have a preference.
No, they both seem pretty robust. And if you are Ouroborean, depending on where you are, if you're north of Chicago,
Yeah.
MTG Card Market probably a little easier to get to.
Yeah. I mean, Dojo is north too.
That's
though.
true. They're both there. So.
North and more north.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
You come from the west though, west part of the city.
Like in the West Loop, actually. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
That's not too bad.
with the train, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
yes.
Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the standstill giveaway is so this was given to us by our host MTG Card Market. If you don't live in the area and you don't have a chance to play at the store, one other way that you can support the host of the stream, I guess, is you can go to their website. They sell a lot of Magic cards. They sell a lot of Legacy cards, Vintage cards, and Standard cards too.
And they buy, I believe, pretty well.
They go to almost every GP. They'll have a booth at GP Omaha this weekend. They were at GP Denver last weekend, which they said went super well for them.
Yeah.
One of the owners, Jameson, was telling me he bought there's some collection that he bought. It was just like a bunch of lotuses, like all this power, and it's just like, oh god, this is too much money.
Yeah. Really some great owners here.
Yeah, very supportive of the community. Like they want to just become a part of the scene.
Yeah.
And they have really.
Yeah.
Just by commitment.
Uka Buka Lakatu, what round is the raffle? We believe it's going to be at a random and unknown time. Mark will appear like a wizard. We won't know when it will be, but he may.
It probably has something to do with how Mark is doing in the tournament.
Yes.
If he starts 0-2, it might be sooner rather than later. If he wins his next round, I would guess it would be after round 3. That is only a guess. It could be any time. I don't think it's just going to be like at the end. I don't think Mark would do that.
No, he would not. Helio Boto, thanks for following. It looks like we've got some other followers that we have ignored. Apologies.
Yeah.
Dumb Mother, Holiday 5, Crooked Adventure.
Dumb Mother has followed before.
Okay. All right, well.
Yeah.
Consistent follower.
They love unfollowing and refollowing just to get a call out.
Well, we're happy to shout out your name for your consistent refollowings.
Yeah.
As Gordon, Crooked Adventure, those of you who didn't name, thanks a lot. We appreciate your support.
Indeed.
As does Mark.
Yeah, Master Zior. Mark did in fact die to Nick Fit. He got pernicious deeded a few too many times.
Lots of dirty deeds.
Yeah, very dirty. We'll see. I think our scene does have a kind of unusually large amount of Nick Fit and Nick Fit style decks.
Yes.
There's a large amount of non-blue, non-brainstorm decks compared to your average Legacy scene.
Right.
So that's one thing just to know about our local metagame here.
Yeah.
Me playing Death and Taxes, I've thought about putting, the third Spirit of the Labyrinth in my deck at times, and then I remember, it's going to be awful against 30% of the field. Why would I bother putting a random 3/1 in my deck?
Yeah.
But,
Greg Pino often does pretty well with a Dark Maverick deck of sorts. So.
He always destroys me. Zealous Persecution is not fun.
That card is a rough one. Innocuous, uncommon from ages past.
Yeah. So we should be moving to a new round pretty soon. Just looking at so we don't have all of the decks listed just yet, but we do have the players' names, and we happen to also know what a lot of these people tend to play. So it looks like we have Phil Silberman. He often plays Storm, specifically Ant. Sometimes he plays Elves, but recently it's been Ant.
Mm-hmm.
I think he thinks that Elves is not that well positioned at the moment, which I think I agree with.
Sure.
Ned is in the house. He usually plays Bug Delver. I think he's been moving away from it recently, but he might still be on it. Tony Zinni was playing Shardless BUG on Monday, and I beat the crap out of him, and that was great. David Gleischer is usually on a pod deck. The deck that he is the only person who can win within Legacy. He top 8'd SCG Milwaukee 2013, I think.
Yeah.
with
Birthing
it.
Pod arguably is the best card in Modern. Was, but...
Yeah. It's still probably top 2.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. But not really that much coverage in Legacy.
No, not typically. But I know Glaciers had a lot of fun with Titania, Protector of Argoth as well.
Whew, yeah.
Yeah. You can do a lot when you have Knight of the Reliquary and that card together.
Yeah.
Some other decks in the house, we have Andrew Bowman, who's been playing lands recently, Simon Camero, who plays Enchantress, Kevin Kingsley, who plays Dredge, Colin Bianchi, who plays Reanimator, Chuck Harris, he usually plays Ascendancy combo at this point, Greg Pino plays Dark Maverick, Matt Seckel also plays lands. We have 2 lands players in the house. Crazy. James Thomas, I'm unfamiliar with, but I'm sure we can figure out what he's playing. Kyle Norman, he's been on Ascendancy combo recently. Kyle Houtman's been on Sneak and Show. Nick Hess, I know, is playing Jeskai Stoneblade. And Bob Agra has recently built Red White Painter.
Ooh. So we got a nice mix.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
2 lands players.
Yeah.
I think that's the only repeat deck that we have, actually.
Yeah, as long as we don't get the mirror, then I think should proceed smoothly.
Yeah, I don't really know how the the lands mirror goes.
Yeah. The first person to make a 2020 promo.
Oh yeah, I guess it's probably just someone ends up with like no permanence.
Yeah.
Right? Just someone gets Wasteland locked.
Right.
And that's the game.
We see a couple votes for Enchantress. We'll try to get that on here at some point. Storm as well.
Should probably just write
Let's
these
see what
down.
else we've got in here. Inkmoth Nexus, unless I misheard Greg, don't believe we have an Infect deck, but we will keep an eye out if we can.
No, not to my knowledge.
Funkiest Swine, thanks for your kind comments. We have fun doing it here, and I know Mark does as well, and appreciates all you guys out there.
I think Mark wanted to play today because he wanted to try out this blue variant of Mud because we're going down to the SCG in Indianapolis at the end of January.
Nice.
One of the first, or I guess it's the second Legacy Open with the new format.
Yeah. Lots of big money there.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
It's gonna feel real bad to just crap out.
Oof, yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, nice to, top 64, much better
That's
rewarded than
Yeah.
prior. So.
Yeah, in the past, I did find that opens were kind of like just like good value events
Yeah.
because like you could go like 6-3 and make a little money.
Yeah, have a fun day playing Magic. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. So I'm just filling out the decks that I believe that we know about, and we'll try to line up the decks that are most getting called out in the chat, but are also performing well in the tournament.
Yeah.
So we don't really want to feature the people who are like 0-2.
No, we don't want to watch them at all. Ooka Booka Laka 2, your storm count is through the roof. We'll see what we can do.
All right. So some of the matchups we have looks like Reanimator against Shardless BUG. This is to remark again. These are the people we believe are playing these decks. It looks like Ascendancy combo. That might be a mirror actually. We have Nick Fit against Ant. Jeskai Stoneblade against Lands. I know that's a landslide for Lands, actually. Maybe we should put the Ascendancy mirror on.
Why not? Storm, more Storm. Lots of mixed feelings about Storm.
Storm is playing against the player who we just had playing Nick Fit.
Right, so we're gonna pass on that for now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go put Kyle and Chuck on.
All right.
If they will do it.
Looks like we might try to get ourselves some Ascendancy combo in here. Could be a little bit difficult to keep track of in the same way Storm is, but at the same time, a little more straightforward. No Ascendancy, please. A couple people really not wanting that. A couple people wanting it. Well, it's in Greg's hands now, unfortunately, folks. I am powerless to do much else to convince or dissuade him one way or the other. So we're gonna make it fun for you no matter what. We'll have lots of jokes.
Man, it is cold in here.
Yeah.
Compared to out there. All right.
There was some rebellion among the crew
They don't want
regarding
it.
your Ascendancy. But
We're putting on a new deck.
yes.
All right, so the reason I put it on is I think the other matchups at 1-0 are all really landslides one way or the other.
Okay.
That was my logic, because I think that Reanimator is going to be very good against what Tony's playing. Then we have the Mirror. Then we have Nick Fit against Ant. And we just saw Nick Fit, and Ant should destroy it.
Yes.
In theory. And then we have Jeskai Stoneblade against Lands, and that is apparently Jeskai Stoneblade's worst matchup. So, having a mirror match, by definition, it should be close.
Yes.
Right? We should not be able to know who's going to win.
Yeah, and this mirror match I don't think is one that it's really sort of like ships passing in the night. So I expected at least some interaction.
Right. Yeah, like, they both have counter spells and like ways to stop the other person from just going off.
Right. And there's the sort of jockeying for position where tapping out for Ascendancy could get you killed.
Yeah, going for it first might be bad.
Right.
So I will take us away from the booth, and we will join Chuck Harris on the left and Kyle Norman on the right, playing a Jeskai Ascendancy combo mirror in Legacy, not Modern.
Yes. This is a Legacy tournament, folks.
And I think there might be some peculiarities to Chuck's version of Ascendancy combo. So we might be able to refine his specific deck name to give it some distinction from Kyle's as well. I know for a while he had like countertop in the deck.
Okay.
Or at least in the sideboard, I think. So we'll see exactly the configuration that Chuck has today. Changing some names. Everyone in the chat, if this proves to be a mistake, deal with it. And blame me.
And we're going to make it fun either way. That's the promise I've made, so we will see.
And Chuck and Kyle are two players who've been on camera a lot, so they usually put on a good show.
Yep. Kyle displeased, going to ship it back.
Yeah, it seems like you can't really keep a hand in this matchup that doesn't have at least like an Ascendancy or a Force of Will, I guess. Need some way to either pressure them or stop them.
Right. Is this deck playing any sort of acceleration, or is it just hoping for the get a hard cast Ascendancy for 3?
A lot of the time, people play Lotus Petal.
Okay, that seems
so
appropriate.
You can play the Ascendancy on turn 3, and then even turn 2 if you have Probe.
Sure.
And then just go straight into it.
Yeah.
This is actually I'm actually considering building this deck. I need to proxy it in Goldfish a lot, but maybe I picked this matchup out of selfish reasons.
Just want to get a view to 2 good pilots playing it.
Yeah.
Looks like Kyle with a couple Fate Stitchers in hand. Not really ideal to be there, but
yeah, you really want to hit those with your Thought Scours and Mental Notes.
Yeah.
In an ideal world. Just updating some of the overlay. Alright, so we have a turn 1 Wind Zendikon after a fetch of Volcanic Island for Kyle.
nice.
Yeah. Legacy All-Star Wind Zendikon.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and bring that up on the screen in just a minute here once
I
all the
catch
other
up.
logistics.
Yeah.
Lots of mechanics in a rush here.
This card is awesome.
Yes, indeed. So, for those of you, this isn't readily apparent. Wind Zendikon, a nice little combo with the Jeskai Ascendancies that we expect out of Kyle's deck. It'll allow him to keep untapping his land, his Volcanic Island, when he's able to play spells because of the Jeskai Ascendancy.
Right.
So, hopefully we'll get to those fireworks and we can talk through that a little more if we need to.
Yeah, this is a matchup where putting Wind Zendikon on a non-basic land is... Kyle knows it's not a risk.
Sure.
Against any deck with Wasteland. You really want to put it on a basic island.
Yeah.
Which is... Alright, so Chuck does have Counterbalance in his deck.
Yep. You mentioned it earlier, and here it is.
And Kyle is going to force it. Because floating something on 1 is really effective against Kyle's deck. Kyle falling to 18 to do so with Force of Will.
Yep.
And it looks like Kyle is attacking for 2.
Solid.
Bringing the beats. Nothing wrong with attacking for 2 on turn 2, right?
No. Lotus Petal will follow it up, but not quite as good as the second land.
Yeah. I wonder if he has a cantrip to play off of the Lotus Petal. It looks like he actually has another Lotus Petal in his hand, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And a Wind Zendikon of his own. I wonder if Chuck is planning on blocking.
I think it would be a respectable block here. I doubt Kyle will give him the offer. Ooh, and he does.
Yep.
And he does.
Looks like that was not an attack. That was tapping it for blue mana.
Chuck's insta-block rejected.
Kyle gained some free information.
Yeah.
I don't really know what it means, but what can you do?
Yeah.
So Brainstorm. Kyle really looking for a fetch land, it seems like. And it looks like he put back a Fate Stitcher, maybe 2 Fate Stitchers. Found a fetch.
Good draw for him.
Mm-hmm. And he is going to shuffle away those bad cards.
Yeah, that Fate Stitcher is certainly less important once he already has the Wind Zendikon in play.
Right. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's good to have 2 creatures when you're going off, but you don't necessarily need it immediately.
Right.
And now it kind of seems like it's just a race to who can stick an Ascendancy into play.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Kyle not behind on actual mana. I mean, if he's able to draw an Ascendancy, the Lotus Petal should be okay.
Right. It looks like they have roughly the same amount of actual cards in hand. Looks like Chuck's sitting on a Force and also a Treasure Cruise, though.
Yeah, a Flooded Strand perhaps.
So Chuck actually cast the second Wind Zendikon, and he's attacking for 2 here.
Yeah.
I'm curious why. I mean, I guess applying pressure and forcing them to go for it first might be good.
Yeah.
Like just having Wind Zendikons in play. I haven't played the mirror, but
yeah.
It's curious that Chuck did that because he could have held the second Zendikon to pitch to Force of Will and still kept Treasure Cruise in hand. Right now, that's his second blue card.
Yeah. He's a little ways away from casting it cheaply, so he might be willing to use the Treasure Cruise, but at the same time, he may just want to have 2 creatures in play and knows that there's no way he would want to give up that Wind Zendikon to a Force. But I'm kind of with you that if Kyle were to slam an Ascendancy here, Chuck is absolutely going to want to counter it, and
then he's completely out of resources.
Yeah.
Here we see kind of the cost of Chuck's counterbalance in the deck, because like both players have had a lot of the same cards in their draw, except where Chuck had counterbalance, Kyle had a Thought Scour.
Yes.
And that has allowed him to cast his Delve spell very cheaply, whereas Chuck is many cards away from casting his Treasure Cruise.
Yep.
Dig looks like it found a Jeskai Ascendancy and a Thought Scour.
Yeah.
So
really pretty nice.
Yeah, Kyle might be able to go for it next turn.
Yep. Especially if he has another land here that... even a Petal should be fine.
Is he going for it right now?
Ooh. He may just want to stick this Ascendancy.
Yeah, this is going to be a little aggressive because Chuck's going to be able to deal with this. I mean, it is going to put Chuck on nothing, though, because he's going to be down to just a land in his hand.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Chuck has drawn a few too many lands for this deck anyway.
Yep. So Kyle is going to go for it.
Chuck? Yeah, okay, he's countering.
Yeah.
Dropping to 16.
Yeah, and here if Chuck was able to untap and slam the Treasure Cruise, which he would, well, it would take his whole turn. So even then, I don't know that he would.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd be advantaged, though. Because Kyle, I mean, he only has 2 cards left in his hand, and I think they're both, like, Thought Scours, which are kind of just random cards, essentially.
Yep.
Like, it's interesting. So Chuck fetching does not want to draw any more lands.
No.
Although drawing a Brainstorm might make that that preemptive fetch not perfect, but...
Yeah, a little surprising to see him do that here. But
yeah, I think he might be a little frustrated that he's drawn so many lands. Because, I mean, 5 basically in a deck that plays like 15 maybe, something like that.
Pretty close to parity here. Kyle a little bit up on spells with 2 Thought Scours in hand, but Chuck ahead on mana.
Did you catch what he drew that turn?
No.
Oh,
we knew about the Flooded Strand, but I don't know what the other card is.
Huh. Based on the fact that he didn't attack, it kind of makes me think it's a Force of Will.
Yeah, sure. Just plenty to hardcast it.
Yeah.
which could work out here. It looks like Kyle drew a dig through time. He may just try to run out.
Cook the 4 throws out in chat that Chuck is actually an L2. Yeah, so it is forcible. I think Chuck is actually looking to take his L2 soon. I think. I don't think he's actually gotten it just yet, but he does have very, very pretty Judge basic lands.
Yes.
Very expensive as well.
Yep.
Chuck fetching here as well. So at least he's consistent with his end of turn fetching.
Yes. No concern about drawing a Brainstorm and wanting to use it for shuffle effects.
Yeah.
Just going for
Overrated.
it. Yeah. Yep.
So Chuck with access to 5 mana. Kyle only with access to 3, but he has more cards in hand and a somewhat more full graveyard.
Yeah. Kyle does have that dig through time that if Chuck taps for any real spell here, Kyle will be able to sneak it in. But
is that what he has in hand?
Yeah, a dig and then 2 other cards.
Oh, and a Jeskai Ascendancy.
And an Ascendancy.
Okay. So if Chuck might be dead next turn.
Yeah, I would imagine. Oh, no blue card either, so fireworks incoming.
Yeah. So Kyle's just probably going to take he might take like a force and a blue card or something to protect the Ascendancy, because I think he already has the cantrips he needs.
Yeah, and even a force not really necessary here. He knows the force in Chuck's hand.
Oh, you're right. He only has 1 card in hand.
Yeah,
so he can't even cast it.
If I was Chuck, I would have held that land, I think, because you might put Kyle into playing around it or even waiting an extra turn. And, although, with Kyle willing to crack 2 Lotus Petals for the first Ascendancy, he's probably just going to jam this one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty aggressive.
Yep.
But, I mean, in a combo mirror, you know, it's hard to really criticize people's play because, like, we can see both of their hands.
Absolutely.
You know? It's very useful knowledge.
Yes.
Sometimes you just don't know if you're going to get another turn.
Yep. Yeah, and hitting something like a Force of Will, well, the Force is going to stay effective, right? It's always going to be good, so...
So it looks like Kyle took, I think, a Gataxian Probe and a Faithless Looting off of that.
Looks like that's right.
Huh. Okay.
So he's willing to loot here. If he draws a land, he'll be able to play Ascendancy, Probe, and then start going off. But if he misses, then he's really sort of screwed himself here.
Yeah, I thought maybe he didn't have a Probe. I thought he would have, oh, maybe he already had the Petal.
Looks like his last card in hand is Force of Will, which...
I think I might have played the Ascendancy first, but I don't know. It was hard to tell what was actually in his hand.
Yeah.
It looks like he actually has also passed the turn back to Chuck.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Chuck has any main deck Pyroblasts, but that would be pretty good right now. Chuck also dropping to 14 here. He's drawn a lot of lands.
He has. Boss Brio, Lumpy Pickles, thanks for the follows. So Chuck going to be able to put Kyle to 6 here, but since Kyle has the Faithless Looting in his graveyard, he's guaranteed to be able to start going off next turn. We'll see what the result is, though. If Chuck draws a blue card here, putting Kyle to 6, plus being able to counterspell the Faithless Looting, it could work out okay. Yeah,
it's curious Chuck didn't leave up 5 mana last turn.
Yeah.
I think he might just be frustrated.
Yeah.
It's kind of the sense I'm getting, because he's holding up now, but the damage is kind of done. Like, the problem is Ascendancy being in play at all.
Right. There's not that many good situations here for Chuck.
No. This has taken a lot more turns than I thought this mirror would take. But I guess both players having Force of Will,
right?
Both players can typically deal with the first wave of threats from each other, and just then it comes down to like who can find a robust second wave of action.
Kyle passing here.
Looks like he's sitting on a Force of Will, and I don't know what else.
Pretty surprised to see him do that with the Faithless Looting, but...
Huh, and he has Mental Note.
Yeah. So
he's really just looking for a Delve spell to make sure he can go off? Okay, so he's looting away the Force of Will.
And planning to block with his 3/3 Wind Zendikon on the 2/2 attacking Wind Zendikon from Chuck.
Yeah. Seems like a thing.
Not the interaction I expected to see this game, but an understandable one.
How did Tundra survive?
When enchanted land is put into graveyard, return that card to its owner's hand.
Oh.
Just reading wins on the cut now.
my fault.
I had the same question. So it looks like Kyle's going to start it off here. Back to his main phase. Oh, maybe not.
Oh, he has not drawn for the turn.
Indeed. Always a good move.
Yeah.
Required, in fact.
I guess.
Yeah.
All right, starting with a Fate Stitcher on Earth.
Yeah.
Seems like the way to do it. Oh, 2 of them.
Yep.
All right, I think this looks like an F6 from Chuck.
Yes.
Oh, he has the Force, though, so I guess Kyle's first actual dig spell is probably going to get forced. So Kyle with 3 mana floating now. Sorry, 1 floating, but 2 lands untapped, I guess.
Yep. Looks like he has a dig, but not quite sure what else. A probe, and well, we'll see.
Could you do me a favor and go look? I think you can see that. Yeah, I completely spaced on that. I think these guys are around 35 minutes.
Thanks, E-Park.
My bad. You can probably see it through the door. Maybe? Maybe not? Sorry. Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, thank you, C Parks, in the chat. We did. That was my fault. I spaced on that. We're having Tyler go and check real quick because this combo does take a while to go through, and it looks like Kyle's in a place where he can't really lose this game, but he just needs to quickly win it. So we see an untap.
33.
33? Okay. Thank you. My bad, everyone. Now I got the clock going. Kyle's just going through the motions here. He has a dig through time and 3 creatures benefiting from the Jeskai Ascendancy.
Let's go ahead and pull Jeskai Ascendancy up here on the screen. I'm sure most people know it. It is a standard and modern all-star, but...
Indeed. This card is absurd.
It really is. A lot of the other Ascendancies got some attention really early on, and then people quickly realized it. Untapping all your creatures.
Yeah, that can do some weird... really broken stuff.
Yeah. The fact that both abilities work with creatures is really just quite good.
And yeah, it does 3 distinct things.
Yes. Yep.
If it didn't have all 3, like if it didn't have the incidental loot, yeah. So Chuck sees the writing on the wall here. Kyle has too many draw spells, and I think Chuck realizes that they don't have infinite time to finish this match.
Yeah.
So
probably some wears and some tears coming in this.
That seems good.
Yeah.
Seems very good.
Some blasts, blue and red, depending on what
blasts.
each player has in their sideboard.
I would imagine somewhere around like 3 total blasts in a 75.
NW Robinson asking why most players choose to untap before looting. The active player, of course, getting to choose to stack the triggers, or the player controlling Jeskai Ascendancy choosing to stack the triggers however they want, so it's certainly a choice. I suspect most cases people don't think it matters very much.
Right.
Any creatures you expect to untap, you will have already tapped.
Yeah.
In Standard, though, where you perhaps could draw Stoke the Flames or something like that, I think people would stack it in the other way, where draw a card. If it's a Stoke the Flames, you might use your creatures and convoke it.
Sure.
Untap afterwards. But
yeah, that'd be cute.
Yeah, quite.
Or you could just untap and do it again.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Either way, you're gonna.
Yeah, it's probably gonna. It's hard to really mess up Jeskai Ascendancy.
Exactly. Yeah.
The card kind of has enough going for it that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I was thinking earlier today, like, I've been considering trying to build Ant, but then I was also thinking about building this deck, and it seems like this deck has a lot more room for error. Yes. Because you can kind of not go off perfectly, and you're still fine, whereas Ant, if you miscount or, like, don't really play around everything possible, things can go, like, horribly, horribly wrong, because you're left just handless, and you don't have something like Treasure Cruise to just catch you right back up.
Yep. It looks like Chuck with a number of Tormod scripts in his sideboard.
It's pretty good.
Certainly good here, yeah.
Going after the delve spells really
Yes.
hard. I imagine the other cards that really are important here out of the sideboard are, as you said earlier, the Blasts, Pyroblast, and Hydroblast, because both counter and destroy at a Jeskai Ascendancy.
Yep.
And also Wear Tear,
Yep.
which could be fused if there's a Lotus Petal sitting in play.
Yeah, true. Let's bring Fate Stitcher up here on the screen. A couple of questions about Unearth. It is a sorcery, or it can be used at sorcery speed.
Indeed. This card jumped from, I don't know, out of everyone's memory, basically, and now it's like, what, a $2 or $3 uncommon?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so quite good. I mean, really just insane in this deck, where you can discard it to the Ascendancy while you're looting, unearth it, and then sort of generate mana every time you play a spell.
And I have to say, half the allure of playing this deck is probably just the art on Fate Stitcher for me. I just think it's cool.
Yes. Interesting to see Chuck have the Tormod scripts. I think it's so interesting, the diversity of graveyard attacking options in Legacy,
Right.
and each of them covering a different sort of niche and appropriate in a different type of deck. And
yeah, because typically, any deck that has access to white mana, you just play Rest in Peace. It's the best thing.
Right.
But you can't here.
Right. You want to protect your own graveyard. And
Yeah.
Grafdigger's Cajuns insufficient.
Right. Yeah, because that's affecting yourself as well.
Yeah.
You can't bring back Fate Stitcher.
Right.
And also, I think just having more Tormod Crypt effects, or just graveyard interaction, might be a bit of a concession to the fact that Reanimator's had some resurgence lately. And I know there are usually 1 or 2 players per tournament locally packing Reanimator, and the cards that are probably best in Chuck's deck against Reanimator would be either Tormod's Crypt or something like Surgical Extraction.
Yeah. Chuck sneaking a counterbalance into play on turn 1 here.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Also fetching Cracking Lotus Petal to put the counterbalance into play.
Yeah.
And it's good, but it's not necessarily as potent as it might have been in game 1, just because Kyle probably brought in a bunch of Pyroblasts.
Yeah. The Chuck does have the Sensei's Divining Top to follow it up, although no... Oh, the second land on top, so the Scalding Turn on top.
Okay.
So
That works out.
Yeah, we will see.
I wonder if he's going to lead... Yeah, I guess you just play top.
Yeah, hard to pass that up.
Yeah, all right.
Hard to pass that up. So many 1-drops in this deck that... Yeah, Chuck with a little bit of sloppy mechanics here, playing the Scalding Tarn after the top, but no days, fortunately for him.
Yeah. Kyle dropping to 17.
Yep.
He might have to just start jamming things into the counterbalance because he needs to get Pyroblast. And if he can catch, like, the chances of him catching Chuck sooner rather than later without a 1 in the top 3 cards, it's probably better now than later, I would imagine.
Well, the top can always go back on top.
Yeah.
But
So
depending on the sequencing, Kyle might get him.
Yeah. The Thought Scour being cast and Chuck electing to stack the triggers in such a way that he's... or letting the stack resolve in such a way that he's not blind flipping with counterbalance. He's responding with Brainstorm, it looks like.
Yep.
So he's going to be able to guarantee to have a 1 on top with his Lightning Bolt.
So we've got a top on the sack, followed by a Thought Scour, followed by the Brainstorm.
So he has a Lotus Petal as well. So he's going to be able to maybe sneak the Young Pyromancer into play and still have a mana up to top next turn.
Yeah.
So I imagine he's going to be leaving a 1 on the top of the deck because he wants to protect from Pyroblast.
Yep. So Chuck able to counter that Thought Scour, and likely that's going to keep Kyle off of any relevant plays on this following turn.
Yeah. Something that could break this up, floating a 1, could be Wear Tear.
Sure.
That's probably Kyle's best hope. I don't know if I think he has 2 in his sideboard, I want to say.
Yeah.
but I can't guarantee that.
So Chuck willing to jam the young Pyromancer here despite having no third land. Willing to draw with his top if needed. I'm a little curious about that, though.
Yeah, I thought he would have left a Lotus Petal in his hand with the Brainstorm last turn, so he could have a mana up to also use top. But
that makes sense. Yep. At the same time, it would be sort of interesting for him to preemptively, before playing the Young Pyromancer, just draw with top right away.
Sure.
Sort of protecting himself from Kyle's 1-drops. If Kyle chooses to respond, he could always use top. And, kind of an unusual play, but
yeah,
perhaps better here. Chuck losing his Pyromancer in the exchange to a Swords.
Right. Did it look like did he move the top on? Did he activate?
The top's on top of his deck, and he drew that Lotus Petal.
I see. So, did he not counter the Swords to Plowshares?
There was a Brainstorm in response to top, and then in response to Swords.
I see. Oh, okay.
So the Brainstorm was countered, but
crazy stacks.
Very, very crazy. So Kyle able to stick an Ascendancy here, and we've got a little bit of an interesting tension. Chuck does still have a 1-drop to counter any spells from Kyle, but interesting that Kyle ran out that Gitaxian Probe there, knowing the top was on top of Chuck's deck. Why is Swords exiled? That is a good question. I don't actually think it should be. We'll go...
yeah, it could be relevant for Delve.
We'll go correct that. Yeah, don't see any reason why it should, so
no.
we'll take care of that.
Thank you, Ukubalatu. Oh, and this is a Treasure Cruise. Kyle also might realize here that Swords should be in his graveyard. So Kyle is looting. I think Kyler is also speaking to him right now. So we have a bit of an interesting stack here. So Kyle already he is currently drawing and discarding from casting Cruise and Jeskai Ascendancy triggering. A lot going on here. So he's choosing to discard something. Looks like Swan Song is being discarded, and now he's drawing 3, or counterbalances on the stack. Okay. Yep. Chuck does not have an 8.
No, unfortunately no counterbalance of his own on top.
Yeah. It's really hard to say who's ahead, though. Like,
yeah,
he needs the top in play, but once that happens, it seems like he's in a decent spot.
Kyle with another Swords, but Chuck...
in response, thought scaring himself. Getting a trigger out of the Young Pyromancer.
Knows that mountain's on top of his deck, so decides to try to find another card to activate that counterbalance.
/ gate value.
Oh, he should be drawing that. You know, he should be drawing that card.
Yeah.
Oh, back to the deck. Oh.
They got a wait. What?
Right
oh,
here.
They did it. They did it right. They did it right. Yeah. He revealed the next card.
All right.
These guys are playing a little.
Lots of interactions here. So what was the top card to counterbalance then?
Treasure Cruise.
Oh, just short.
Yeah.
Well. Unfortunate for Chuck.
Yeah, it didn't work out quite right. I would love to see a Treasure Cruise get a counterbalance countered by a Treasure Cruise.
Yes. Interestingly, that 1/1 could go a long way here.
Yeah.
Because of the counterbalance top block that is pretty imminent. I mean, Kyle's maneuvering a lot, but next turn, Chuck's going to have him probably in a tight spot. Although with 5 cards in hand, perhaps not.
Yeah.
It looks like he may have a force here for...
looks like Kyle has an...
Yeah.
He might be really trying to dig for a Pyroblast to get the counterbalance off the table.
I do think he has a force in hand, so the Sensei's top will probably not hit play again.
Right. Which is pretty valuable. Crack and fetch.
Sasquatch, can they play any loosey-goosey? I think you mean Lucy or Goosier. In fact.
I agree with
yes.
your syntax.
Yes.
Oh, boy. You want my scarf? It's really cold
no, I'm
back
fine.
here.
I have a coat. It's
Okay.
keeping me on my toes here. So.
All right.
NW Robinson, yeah, a little bit of sloppy play here, but the player's trying to keep things moving quickly. 20 minutes left, and not actually many real mistakes. Just some sloppy mechanics.
Just tightening up some screws.
Yep. Chuck able to find a treasure cruise here.
Yeah, that was the one that was a little too deep down in the deck.
Yeah, it looks like Kyle allowing that, despite the force, really just has to reserve that force for the Sensei's top.
That makes sense. Chuck finding some lands to work with as well. Seems like he had been slightly hindered. So Chuck playing... Alright, so that's a resolve. Interesting. I guess Kyle just wasn't willing to go down to like no cards in hand.
Yeah, very, very surprising to see that though, because...
Yeah, it seems like you'd really want to maneuver.
Ooh, and Chuck's going to get him here. Chuck... Oh, no. Chuck has a Brainstorm, could put the cruise in his hand back on top, but chooses...
not
Oh,
to?
no, it was a Fate Stitcher. Right?
Okay, all right.
All right. I was going to say, that would be too good to pass up.
So someone in the chat is saying that counterbalance trigger happens before Ascendancy triggers on Kyle's turn.
Yes, yeah, the active player's triggers will stack first. So thanks for the heads up, NW Robinson will...
So before he loots, I guess?
Yeah, before he loots or untaps, the
Counterbalance needs to resolve.
So
okay. Very interesting. I guess, yeah, that affects what you would keep off of like a loot potentially.
Yep.
Okay. Sasquatch laying down the law, saying that Kyle's going to get an earful about this in Google chat tomorrow. I agree with that.
Yeah. Let him know about those pants too as well, folks.
Yeah. You see his puffy winter suit that he wore here? It's basically like he's wearing a gigantic pillow on his body. Like, he looks like Randy from A Christmas Story.
Perfect.
But just like on steroids because he's a grown man and he's dressed like a little kid.
Yeah. Yeah, putting your arms down at your sides is overrated.
Yeah, he really can't do that. And it's not for muscle, clearly. All right, some passing, some maneuvering.
Yep.
This looks like... Oh, so... Looks like Kyle is trying to Thought Scour Chuck in his upkeep?
In the upkeep, yeah.
Did Chuck already draw for the turn, though? I guess he was doing it in his draw step.
Yeah.
It seemed like Kyle was trying... Like, wasn't given a chance to do that when he wanted to. Because... Milling over the top would have been really valuable.
Yes, indeed. Kyle passing top counterbalance in sort of full swing here. Chuck with plenty of mana to make sure he can stop Kyle from doing pretty much anything.
Yeah. It seems like Chuck's ahead, but he's not applying any pressure.
Yeah. With the top end fetch lens, though, presumably he'll find something sooner than Kyle can outstrip the lock.
Mm-hmm. Just has inevitability. The question here, I think, is just can he find Wear Tear? And also, with Wear Tear, could he make the converted mana cost of the spell X equals 3 by fusing it?
Unfortunately, I am not a level 2. I don't know the answer to that question. I believe it's either or, but I have no idea. We're getting some head nods from Guru Stephen Dang here. So
yeah, it's a 3. You can counter for the 3.
All right, cool.
It's not the split card.
So the only...
Fuse cards are different from split cards.
Okay.
Right.
So in that case, if it was fused, he'd have to probably reveal Jeskai Ascendancy off of counterbalance to counter.
If it's like
Wear Tear?
casting both Wear and Tear together,
Yeah.
you're going to add them together.
It's
Yeah.
3?
I believe
Okay.
you're going to add them together.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so Wear Tear potentially an out here.
I want some viewers tell
It
us
would be good.
Yeah. A word yet
some
here.
viewers, some other level 2s.
Yes. Mana Guru, we were discussing Wear Tear, if it was fused, whether its converted mana cost, as counterbalance is concerned, would be 3 or 2 or 1, but we're believing it's 3 here, if it was fused.
Looks like Chuck's found a Pyroblast too, and Chuck also got an Ascendancy into play.
Yep.
This seems like Kyle is pretty dead, because Chuck's gonna be able to remove Kyle's Ascendancy have his own and have counterbalance top.
Yes.
All going.
Fairly good.
Yeah. It looks like Chuck's just casting Lightning Bolt to draw the Pyroblast right now.
Yeah.
And also discard Fate Stitcher, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, and this is could be it for Kyle
this
here. This
is
game.
looking like Kyle should maybe concede for
the sake of
round time. Yeah.
Chuck gonna bring back Fate Stitcher and do some work here.
Yep.
Probably in both players' interest for Kyle to concede this game and move on, but
doesn't look like it's happening just yet. Might force Chuck to show him a little more gas.
Ukabukalaka 2, we've seen that. Yeah, it is actually Chuck's turn here, though. So he's able to stack. Well, I'm not sure.
I think this is Chuck's turn. Right
yes,
now.
it is. Yeah, it is.
There's a lot going on right now. I think there's a Pyroblast on the stack targeting Jeskai Ascendancy in response to a Thought Scour from Kyle, I think.
Yep.
Swan Song going after Pyroblast, I presume.
Okay. In this case, counterbalance will resolve second to, but Chuck neglecting to use counterbalance here.
Yeah, we don't really know where everything on the stack is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Borian, you are correct. This is not competitive REO.
No.
Right? But we will let them know in between games here to keep track of sort of the way that triggers are going on the stack.
Yeah.
With approximately 9,000 triggered abilities every turn, though, that's certainly a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, 9,000's a lot.
Yeah.
I wonder if these guys practice going off, just, when they're sitting at home watching TV.
Yeah, I'm sure they practice going off.
I think I would.
Yeah. Especially with top and counterbalance, it's too fun.
Yeah, all right, there we get the concession. This makes sense.
All right. And
going to game 3.
I'll let them sideboard if they have any other sideboarding, but catch them during shuffling for
that makes sense.
Suggestion.
Let's see.
Kyle back to the sideboard. Well, we saw a lot of the cards we expected on display. Some various blasts and.
Probably the best card in the matchup would be Pyroblast.
Yeah.
I would think.
Good against Treasure Cruise, good against Ascendancy, good against Force.
Yeah, and it's also like good on offense and like if you're ahead or behind, I guess, right? Because either you can use it to protect your own Ascendancy or go after theirs.
Yep. Stops Ascendancy from coming down or kills it when it has. It's really versatile. All for the low cost of 1 mana.
It is red in a deck that has a lot of blue mana, but it has enough red mana too.
Yep.
So that game we got to see just how good counterbalance is here. And I guess a lot of it did come down to just the fact that Kyle couldn't find a Pyroblast or a Wear Tear.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. The turn 1 counterbalance and the turn 2 top was just really tough. There were a few turns where Chuck was a little mana light and Kyle maneuvered, but
yeah, I think Kyle. What I saw him just do when he was sideboarding was taking out Swords to Plowshares and Lightning Bolts.
Sure.
And it looked like Wear Tear wasn't in the deck, actually.
Okay.
Or maybe it was like additional copies coming in. I think that's the right way to try to fight the matchup, is not try to just like remove their creatures, but try to get to the source of the problem, which is Ascendancy itself.
That said, if Chuck's able to keep Ascendancy off the board and stick a Pyromancer,
that's true.
Kyle may regret that, but I think in general I agree with you that the dealing with those creatures is not as valuable as
the real
source.
He might keep in some number of copies, but you probably just don't want like 6 or 7 removal spells because
right.
It's a little too reactive probably. Yeah, that's a good time to catch them. Yeah, so many birds comments in the chat that he might have not had Wear Tear in his deck for the last game, which seems like it was probably an oversight. I imagine that neither player has really played the mirror that many times either, so they're probably just learning how to board it on the fly, because it's not very intuitive, frankly. Like, are you supposed to go after the creatures? Are you supposed to go after the Ascendancy itself? Are you fighting in your hand, or are you fighting on the table mostly? You gave him the news?
Gave him a heads up, yeah.
Okay. I will refresh life totals. And so we'll have Kyle on the play here, which definitely seems like an advantage. Also Chuck mulliganing. and the players only have about 10 minutes left. So, I mean, we haven't actually seen anyone kill the other person in either game.
Right.
Both games have ended in just concessions because the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
But in a third and deciding game, that might not come to pass so genially, I guess.
Yeah. I would imagine that if it was really clear that one of these players would concede in this.
I would hope.
They know each other well enough, but.
So it looks like one land from Chuck, but an otherwise okay hand. It looks like he has a force.
Yeah.
What is that one card under Fate Stitcher? Or is that a counterbalance?
Counterbalance, I think.
Okay.
So. Yeah, so.
Never cast that evil card myself. So.
Yeah, it really puts the kibosh on anyone's fun.
Yeah.
So.
You tried to put the kibosh on my fun that one time.
I did, and I was spirited away. Yeah, I played a Jace, activated it for the brainstorming, and you viled in a Spirit of the Labyrinth, which...
It felt pretty good.
I imagine it did. And then I was reminded I still had to put 2 cards back on top of my deck.
Well, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah. Those are the rules. Right?
Maintaining the correct game state.
Yes, yes.
And if I happen to take great satisfaction in doing so, that's unrelated.
Yep.
All right, Kyle dropping to 17.
Yeah.
Might see Thought Scour to lead off. Brainstorm immediately? Interesting.
Yeah. Perhaps just one player on that Pyroblast, but
Sure.
I would be surprised to see Chuck counter a Pyroblast.
That tells me if he's protecting his Brainstorm that much that Kyle was digging for lands.
Yeah.
Which it looks like he was and doesn't look like he found any.
Oof.
I mean, the thing with Brainstorm in this deck, though, is it's so good because you can just Thought Scour over dead draws.
Yeah.
So, like, next upkeep, he could Thought Scour and not have to draw any of the cards he put back, which might be what he's doing right now.
Yeah, certainly if there's no lands and
Yeah.
he needs one,
Yeah.
totally agree with you.
I think he's milling over a Fate Stitcher or two as well.
Yeah. This gives him 2 fresh draws at a land, right? One from the Thought Scour and...
Right. And one from his natural draw step.
Yeah.
Looks like Chuck's Landlight as well. And so
Oof.
Kyle did find Misty
Alright.
Rainforest.
A big win for him.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand Chuck not throwing Pyroblast out there because it's very risky if Kyle did get there. Obviously, we have the benefit of knowing that Thought Scour was super important for resolving.
Yeah. Interesting that Chuck did not play the Pyroblast turn, sort of to tease that out.
That's true.
And, you know, with Kyle having played the Brainstorming, an unusual play, getting some information would be nice.
Right.
If he had known that Kyle had no lands.
He might have played it more aggressively.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty interesting matchup. I guess Swan Song is quite good here because it counters all the spells.
All of them.
Except top. It's
Yes.
the only one it doesn't.
Yeah.
So let's see. I wonder if he's just going straight. Well, he probably can't afford to go straight for counterbalance because Kyle has Pyroblast up. Let's see. Both players seem to be lacking a third land. We don't definitely know that Chuck doesn't have it, but
Yeah. Reasonably landlight deck. He may not.
yeah. Kyle looking at a bunch of stuff he can't really play.
A couple Ascendancies, maybe another Thought Scour. Chuck with a third land, so.
And not going for the counterbalance with Pyroblast backup.
Yeah.
I guess just reluctant to make the first move, perhaps,
Yeah.
without like more of an incentive to do so. You know, like maybe just force Kyle to find lands,
Right.
and if he doesn't, Chuck's just gonna be able to bully him on mana advantage. Brainstorm resolving though.
Yeah, and Chuck clearly willing to let any spell resolve besides the Jeskai Ascendancy or perhaps the Treasure Cruise with this Pyroblast here.
Yeah, playing very defensively. I guess Chuck's hand isn't actually like that great, so he probably shouldn't necessarily push it at his advantage too hard because a couple good draws from Kyle and Chuck could just find himself way far behind.
Yeah.
Looks like Kyle is trying to figure out what he wants to shuffle away after he resolves this Brainstorm and presumably cracks his fetch at some point. Because he really needs to draw lands.
Yes, he does. But instead, just discarding Face Stitcher to for his
Hand
discard
size.
step. Yeah, to hand size.
All right.
So Chuck may be going for the counterbalance here. Willing to say that, you know what, Kyle's been stuck on lands. Even if he has Ascendancies in hand, he may not cast. Ooh, and instead,
Okay.
the Young Pyromancer. So,
Pressure him another way.
yeah.
Looks like Kyle's going to try to force this, actually.
Yeah, and if you were right that he took out most of his swords and bolts, then he may just be
Priced into this.
yeah.
Because he's not really close to comboing, given the nature of Chuck's hand.
Yeah.
And Chuck just letting this happen. Not willing to give up his Pyroblast.
Yeah, and a fetch land.
Mm. Looks like Kyle's cracking end of turn.
Yep.
Also, Kyle took 1 point also from Force of Will. Sasquatch comments that he thinks that Kyle's hands look like it's kind of like buttery, a little buttery. I agree. It's cold out there.
Yes.
Kyle needs to get some sun. Then again, there is none to be had in Chicago at the moment.
Not right now, unfortunately. So.
Kyle also told me, though, over the weekend, I don't think he actually went outside at all. He just played the Holiday Cube. So...
And Chuck likely has to Pyroblast this here, the dig through time on Kyle's end step.
This might be bait.
Yeah, but bait for what? I mean, with Kyle, we know Kyle has no third land, so
Yeah.
he could draw and cast Ascendancy, and that would be unfortunate for Chuck. But
Right. Was this Kyle digging... Was he going to dig through time to try to find a third land?
I expect to. Ooh, he does have a pedal.
He's probably just running it out.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, he knows all but 2 cards in Chuck's hand.
I don't know. Chuck just has to let that resolve.
Yeah. I wonder what Chuck has in hand. Lands. Some lands.
Yeah, Kyle does have the Fate Stitcher in his graveyard, so...
Next turn could get ugly.
Yeah.
Oh, but Chuck going for his own Ascendancy, and he has some... Well, it doesn't seem like he really has the goods to go off this turn.
No.
Unless that one unknown card. So it looks like Kyle let that resolve, too. Kyle not force of willing that? I think he has a force in hand. It's interesting he wouldn't counter that. I guess he wants to just counter the cruise.
Those were the ghosts of Christmas past
Yeah.
coming in.
Jacob and Robert Marley joining us from beyond the grave.
Yes. Gramps 47. I don't actually know how to say that with a 4 in the middle, but Gramps 7. Thanks for following. T-Boss and Nora. Good to see you guys.
Taking Mark's lead, you can probably just make up however you want to pronounce names.
Yeah, no, I like to stick to Mark's pronunciations, though. Ukubukalakatu is a solid one. We've been there.
Yeah.
Dream Killer, hello. Good to see you.
Looks like, so Kyle's letting a lot of this happen. He's very patient with his force of will here.
Yeah. Chuck, really good doing some work here.
He probably needs to flip over the card in the graveyard. Okay. It is a land.
The old discard manifest.
That would add some complexity to Magic.
Yes, indeed.
If you could discard things that were unknown face down.
Yep. Kyle keeping track of Chuck's storm count for him very nicely.
So it seems... So Kyle's reluctance to use his force of will is very apparent here, and it really seems like he's intent on just countering Cruz.
Yeah. Satsukawaya, good to see you.
You realize that's me, right?
Well played. Alright, so Kyle here going for force of will.
Yeah, it's gonna force will the treasure cruise.
Looting off of force of will.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a blowout. Oh, did Chuck not have his own force there?
Yeah.
I thought he did. So he's looting from what? Okay.
Okay. Looting from his
Oh, he does not have
own-
force of will. He has
Right.
counterbalance. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is just an attack for 3. Oh, Kyle on 8. I missed some stuff. Life totals don't matter a ton here. I guess...
Until they do.
Yeah. I guess whittling people down, like, it makes you not have to go off as fully, which could be valuable. Kyle knows that he needs to go for something here, though, because, Chuck has his own Ascendancy and Fate Stitcher in the graveyard.
Yep.
So Kyle going for 2 immediately. It looks like he has a Cruise in his hand.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then...
Cruise, and it looks like Pyroblast backup, too. So unless he really whiffs hard...
This is gonna be good.
Yeah. All right, he's fetching before he's doing this.
What's the full value off the Treasure Cruise?
Is Chuck conceding?
Yeah, willing to concede there.
Oh, I guess that was time in the round, and it was clear that Chuck was gonna be able to win, or Kyle's gonna be able to win. I
would force Kyle to resolve the Treasure Cruise and show me his hand. If 3 lands, and it's a draw, I think. But,
right.
But if he draws any spells, then
it's likely game.
Yeah.
It's interesting. None of those games actually finished.
No.
All right, so we can bring it back to the booth now. Everyone can thank me for getting to witness that lovely spectacle.
Yeah, we saw many spells cast and many triggered abilities, so sorry for if we missed things on the stack. I'm sure we did, but...
I think we took a number of weeks off of our lives by watching that.
Yes, yeah.
You can all thank me later.
Yep.
Direct your letters to my Facebook account.
Yeah, or your secretary.
Yeah, well, that's Mark.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's reset some of the overlay. It's been a long day.
Yeah, we've had a layover here.
Yeah. So this round, I guess we don't know yet who all of our 2-0 players are. I guess we know Kyle Norman is 2-0 with Jeskai's NC combo. We suspect Phil Silberman is, because he had a good matchup this round against Nick Fit. Okay, Mark being animated.
Yes.
Nothing new. Mark, do you want to do the standstill now, or after this round, maybe?
I don't know. I'm not here yet.
All right.
I've not made my presence known yet.
I'm not talking to Mark. I have a problem.
It is possible that now
but you should definitely rep the... You're good.
All right. Yeah, let's talk about this again. So anyone who missed it earlier, we talked about it before round 1 and after round 1. Now we're before round 3. This is our giveaway tonight, is a foil standstill.
Is the opposite of what we just watched.
Yeah, lots of stuff happened in that game. This is designed to not have a lot happen for some amount of time.
No. This is for people who like to take naps.
This card has been donated to us by mtgcardmarket.com/their physical store, which we are in right now. If you like our streams, stick around, like our Twitch page, like our Facebook, Twitter, every form of social media. I don't think we have a Tumblr. YouTube, sorry, that's the big one. Twitch and YouTube are the big ones, I guess.
Yes.
So like us there. We'll have a giveaway at some point in the near future, whenever Mark decides to come back.
We're pretty confident he's going to drop from the ceiling on suspended cables.
No promises.
So he's getting the rig set up now.
Yeah.
So at some point he will appear upside down behind us, probably right in this space.
Yeah, it's going to be terrifying.
Yes.
Mostly for us.
But the good news for you is that when that happens, a standstill will be awarded to one of our faithful viewers.
Yep, and I'm going to go change into a clean pair of pants. It's going to be great.
Yep.
All right, so resetting some of the overlay, moving around 3 soon. We can throw out some of the deck lists that we should maybe be able to feature this round.
Yeah.
We might have Reanimator at 2-0. We might have Ant at 2-0. We have 2 lands players.
1-0-1.
We have one of which who is at 1-0-1. I believe he drew with Enchantress in round 1.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, that seems like a slow matchup.
That was ridiculous.
Slightly slow one. Can't really blame them for getting a draw there. Lands versus Enchantress. I imagine that might come down to... God, I don't even know how that plays out.
Yeah, that's...
that sounds gross.
Yes.
I guess Lands really wants to draw a whole lot of... Crows and Grips post board or something. Who even knows, really?
The number of relevant cards on each side are...
Not that high. Or,
yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? Ukabulatu. How do you say it? You can.
Ukabukalakatu.
Ukabukalakatu. Okay.
I just try not to think about each syllable and just recite Mark in my mind. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's something.
The designer, Haps, Galactic Hitchhiker, Professor Too Fat, Lopru, welcome. Loper W.
Yes. Thank you all for following us. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And stick around because we're giving this away at some point, not that long from now. It's not going to be at the very end of the stream. We have 4 rounds tonight and basically all nights here. I would suspect that sometime in the next hour or so we're going to give this away.
Yep.
Who knows, really, though?
Yeah.
Well, I do. But.
Yep.
We don't. Malpius or Malpheus asks what's up next. We don't have pairings just yet. I feel like we should maybe try to get Phil Silverman on camera if we have the chance.
Sure. Get some Ant up there.
Yeah. He's one of the more experienced players we have in our local area. Top 8 at a few XCGs, I think.
Yeah. I'll go check in with him and see if he's up for it.
Yeah. Let's see who's 2-0.
How much time do we have? Oh, we're done. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Tyler's my legs tonight. It's great. Running around, seeing what's 2-0, what we can put on camera. Looks like... So we have 2 repeat decks in the room and then a whole lot of one-offs. We have 2 Lands players and 2 Jeskai Ascendancy players, the 2 that we just had on camera right now. Some of the people who were 1-0 coming into this round, Nick Hess, who's on Jeskai Stoneblade, I believe. Matt Seckel on Lands, Phil Silberman on Ant, Dominic on Nickfit, Kyle on Jeskai Ascendancy, Chuck also on Jeskai Ascendancy. We saw that match on camera though. Tony Zinni playing, I think he was playing Shardless BUG Monday, but I'm not totally sure.
I think that's what he's on.
Yeah? Alright, so we think that's what he's on again today.
Ned's on Shardless as well.
Oh, Ned is also on Shardless. So we also have 2 Shardless BUG decks. Interesting that that's coming back into vogue slightly, at least locally. Because that deck has fallen out of favor in recent weeks/months after the printing of Treasure Cruise. You know, like, why bother working so hard for your free draw 3 when you can just play Treasure Cruise? Any word?
Looks like Elves and Nickfit. Phil's playing Elves, it looks like.
Oh, okay.
So he is...
Not Ant.
Not Ant, no.
Okay.
No, but he has about 45 permanents on the board.
Okay, so they're just going through the motions.
Yeah, it looks pretty close.
Yeah.
To wrapping up in turns, so...
So that means if Phil pulls that one out, he would be 2-0. So if anyone in the chat is hankering for some little green men, you should also chime in now so we can try to give the people what they want.
Yes.
I always like watching Elves. It some of its games are, you know, a little sad when
Yes.
all the elves die.
Right.
But sometimes they pull out some pretty interesting games, kind of pulling wins out of seemingly nowhere.
Yeah, I think Crater of Behemoth made the deck, well, obviously made it better, but it also made it a little less interesting since
Yeah.
more of the games just end with, oh, it's a natural order.
Yeah. I played the deck about 2 years ago when it was green-white, you know, green splash white for Mirror Entity. That
Yes.
kill. That took slightly longer most of the time.
Yeah.
Although there were some number of games where I would just play a turn 2 or 3 Mirror Entity and just make my
5/5s.
yeah, just make all my guys real big.
Yeah.
And sometimes that killed them.
Yeah.
Other times you have to be a little more creative. That version of the deck was a lot more dependent on Green Sun Zenith or Glimpse of Nature, for sure.
Right.
Now having so many natural orders in the deck and Craterhoof just being so many times just an instant win
Yep.
does kind of take the fun out of it.
Yeah.
I'll agree.
Yeah. But makes the deck substantially
It's a lot
better.
better. Whatever.
Yeah.
Decks don't have to be better to be sweeter.
No. No, indeed not.
Also, back then you got to play Regal Force, and that card was awesome, because who doesn't like drawing 11 cards?
Yeah. Yeah, quite good. Quite good. So I'll mention of Eureka in the chat. Yeah, quite a fun card in the Holiday Cube. One of my favorite moments, we were talking about Holiday Cube earlier,
Yeah.
was getting to flash in a Containment Priest in response to a Eureka. That was pretty nice.
That sounds great. I have a Containment Priest story from Monday. I was playing against actually Colin Bianchi, who's in our tournament today. He was playing Reanimator. We were in game 3. This is the sequence. It's not many turns. I'm on the play. I go turn 1, Cavern of Souls on human, pass, because why would I cast a spell?
Right.
He goes turn 1 Swamp, pass. I play Caracas, pass. At the end of my second turn, he entombs for Tidespout Tyrant, which is his best target against me because it's not legendary, doesn't get bounced by Caracas.
Right.
He untaps, casts Reanimate, targets Tidespout Tyrant. I flash in Containment Priest, to which he tries to Force of Will it, and I point to Cavern of Souls, which is on human.
Oof.
It was pretty good for me.
Yes.
Because Reanimate is not Exhume. He has to still try to do it.
Yeah.
He takes the 8 points of life. His best reanimation target is exiled from the game.
And the Force of Will is legally cast, and therefore...
Well, we let him take that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
not the full rub-ins.
Not the full.
Yeah. But
Sure.
that game didn't last that long.
No, I would suspect not.
That one felt pretty good.
Yeah.
Sometimes Legacy is a kick in the butt.
Yeah, sometimes it is. But yeah, I think if you're ready for that, if you know like mentally that like that can happen, and you just roll with it and have fun, it can be really just such a fun format.
Right. Because sometimes you're on the other side of those blowouts.
Right, and you just need to accept that like, okay, that was really an interesting way that, some interesting interactions. So.
All right, so let's see who we have at 2-0. Looks like Phil Silberman, Tony Zinni. That's probably who we should put on, I think.
Yeah, I think Mark's going to get that set up for us.
Okay.
Encourage Phil. He said he was going to encourage Phil to be on screen.
So that would be Elves against Shardless BUG.
All right.
And I think traditionally that matchup favors Elves. A lot of it comes down to how much of the Shardless BUG's sideboard is dedicated to that sort of matchup. Like how many Toxic Deluges or similar like black sweepers they have.
Right, Golgari Charms.
Right. But I would say that game 1 definitely favors Phil. That's kind of the way a lot of combo decks are, of course. Game 1 is probably more in their favor than post-board games.
Right.
Because usually the combo decks don't get the Haymaker sideboard cards as often as the fair decks.
Yeah, especially a monocolor or 2-color deck.
Right.
I suppose 2-color with the black. Yeah.
Could be 5-color. You have
could be.
Right, Sean.
Progenitus counts.
The other 2-0 match, we'll just try to keep an eye on who might be 2-1 after this, or 3-0 after this round, I guess.
Yeah.
We have Nick Hess, who's playing Jeskai Blade, and he's playing against Kyle Norman, who we just saw win on camera with Jeskai Ascendancy.
Mm-hmm.
So same colors, very different deck.
Yes.
Just below them, at 4 points, we have Andrew Bowman, who is 1-0-1 with lands. So any of you Mazavith fans, we'll try to see what we can do for you. He's playing against Dominic this round, who's on Nick Fit. We also have a slew of players at 1-1, basically everyone who I read off before.
Zinni said he's playing Stoneblade.
Okay. Oh, Stoneblade. Okay, so
I believe that's what he said.
yeah, it'll be fine. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, so we are getting Phil and Tony's match. We might have had some misinformation about Shardless BUG.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Shardless Bands. Could be, right?
I'm sure we'll know fairly quickly
Yeah.
Where things actually stand.
All right, it looks like we have players seated at the table, so I will take it off of our ugly mugs.
Melfius, how do you vote? You just did. Lands versus Nick Fit. If it comes up, we'll throw it in the mix.
Alright, so left player we have Phil Silberman, lovingly known as Philberman. And he is on Little Green Men, also known as Elves. I don't know when the exclamation point became like a thing with describing elves.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
A lot of people leave that off now, but like traditionally that's been how like the deck's been listed.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I try to type an exclamation point after every S.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Well, I hope your name doesn't end. Or I guess it doesn't.
It doesn't have any S's,
Yeah.
so I'm not very emphatic about myself, but other people, like you, for instance, I would be Gregory Schaefer. Be very excited.
put spaghetti so bad, but I'll just put his real name.
Anthony Spaghetti. That's because he likes spaghetti, folks, not for any other reasons.
Spaghetti. Tony goes by a bunch of nicknames, including Tone, or Spaghetti. You know, a lot of loving names.
Yep. Phil off to the races with a 1-mana spell.
Alright, so we have a Green Sun Zenith for Dryad Arbor, pretty classic Elves first turn. Just trying to get its mana acceleration and board positions set up for turns 2 through 4, which is kind of where Elves is looking to hit its stride.
Yep.
Looks like Tone is in fact on a white variant. Our Shardless BUG information must have been misinformation.
Yeah. And Ponder here for Zinni's fine, but probably one of the least exciting ways he could start off the game. If he, we don't know if he has any Delvers, but if he does, he would prefer that. And short of that, killing the Dryad Arbor. But
yeah, I mean, so he at least does have a Force in his hand for any natural orders or glimpse of natures that might be forthcoming.
Yep.
But one of the things that has been evident in these, the fair blue deck matches against Elves is you really need a source of pressure to go along with your stall tactics.
Right. Zinni does look like he has a Stoneforge Mystic in hand, but that's several turns away from doing anything with an Umezawa's Jitte, so...
Yeah, it's a lot worse if he's on the draw.
Yeah.
Oof. And a very aggressive glimpse out of Phil. You know, this might have been bait.
Yeah.
Because this might have just been like a value glimpse if it even resolved for Phil. Like, the chance that Phil can really, really go off from glimpse on turn 2 is fairly low.
Yeah. Quirion Ranger carrying its weight here, producing 2 mana between untapping the Dryad Arbor and returning the Bayou to Phil's hand. Assuming that Phil doesn't actually have another land.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, Quirion Ranger does a lot of cool stuff in this deck.
Yes.
It's so innocuous, you know?
It really is. It's
almost like more so than Wirewood Symbiote.
Right.
You know, bouncing forests instead of, bouncing Elvish Visionary is pretty, like, blatantly good.
Yes. Yeah. You only need to see that once to say, okay, that works.
And I need to not let that happen.
Right. But Ranger, deceptively simple.
Yeah, it just, like, makes a lot of your draws a lot smoother.
Yeah. It allows you to run land light in a really nice way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with Elves, like, a lot of your best hands are one-landers.
Yep.
It's just sort of like a thing you have to accept about the deck.
Yep.
Someone asks, Malpheus asks if that was a main deck Pyroblast. There's a pretty good chance that was. It's interesting, a lot of our local blue players have taken their cues for deck building from, like Legacy Open top 8s and top 16s, but I do think that our local metagame here is a lot less blue than those bigger tournaments, and like with 2 lands players in the room, with an Elves player in the room, with Nick Fit, with Mud, like there's just so many matchups where the main deck Pyroblast is a huge liability.
Absolutely. So it looks like last turn Phil was able to get Anthony for 2 Deathrite drains with the Quirion Ranger, and then an attack for 1 with the Ranger. So I think Zinni down to maybe 13 here between all of those.
That makes sense.
Interesting use from Phil again with that Quirion Ranger. Activating Deathrite Shaman, untapping the Deathrite Shaman, returning the Bayou, doing it again.
So good.
Really pretty cool.
So good. Like he's sort of forcing Tony to deal with the little bit of pressure that Phil's applied to the board only so far.
Yeah.
And it looks like if Phil just draws a couple lands or something, he's going to be able to go for the natural order that I think he has in his hand.
Yep.
And that should just be instantly lethal. He might go for it this turn since Jitte's on the horizon.
Yeah.
It looks like he has 2 natural orders in his hand too.
Yeah, if Anthony has another land, he would be able to play the GT equipped to Stoneforge and get a couple counters next turn. So
the issue with that is that Phil can actually just stop that with Quirion Ranger and Dryad Arbor.
Sure.
To effectively fog the Jitte.
Right, just block and return that creature to his hand.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very tricksy. And that's part of the value in, Tony not having a creature like True Name Nemesis or any sort of flyer to let his Jitte be effective, basically unfettered. Phil doing some shenanigans with his single Bayou and Queen Ranger, eating with Deathrite Shaman multiple times in a turn. I think he exiled a spell and then a land. And this is a natural order, and this is a concession.
Pretty quick, yep.
Yeah.
Craterhoof Behemoth for well over 20 damage.
Right. Like that was a fine draw for Phil, but it wasn't that crazy good.
No, it was just very straightforward.
Yeah.
Like you said, the glimpse was probably a value glimpse for that he was fine having forced.
Yeah.
And it allowed his natural order to resolve a couple turns later.
The problematic position that puts Tony in though is like you probably would Force of Will just an Ancestral Recall though.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
On turn 2.
No, it makes sense that Anthony has to do it. There's
Yeah. There's just not much you can do about him having multiple power cards in his draw.
Yeah.
So we can tick this up. Getting used to the new overlay here. Sorry everyone for some of the slow updates. I also forgot to do the time because I'm great at this.
We're just having so much fun talking.
Yeah. Just have, our personalities just mesh so well. Alrighty then.
That's 42.
42. Thank you very much. Great.
Yeah, that game definitely one that was better for Phil on the play, of course, but even on the draw, I think Zinni's hand might have been just too slow.
Yeah, not having spot removal, like Queen Ranger did a lot of work in that game.
A ton of work, yeah. And like you said, even if Phil was on the draw and GT came down before the end of the game, Ranger would have allowed Phil to really neuter that pretty well.
Yeah, like the board might have been at such a position, even like a single Jitte hit even might not have really hindered Phil that terribly much.
Yeah.
It probably would have taken out like the Querying Ranger and then Dryad Arbor, something like that. Got chat going on.
Goryo's Vengeance on a Blazing Archon in response to a Craterhoof Behemoth. Yeah,
that sounds good.
That would be pretty good.
That sounds great.
Ouroborean and PG8, we're going to get you guys in the cage and have you fight it out.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with Ouroborean. You can, in fact, Goryo's.
Yeah.
Or is it legendary? Is Goryo's Vengeance legendary?
Blazing Archon?
No. Is Goryo's Vengeance required to be legendary?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe that Blazing Archon is not legendary.
I believe you're right.
Yeah, it's just Creature Archon.
Yes.
Whatever that is.
It's a good thing it's not legendary. That way you can stop creatures from attacking you multiple times.
Yeah. The spell that we saw prompt a concession in that game was Natural Order, displayed here with not its good art. I hate the portal art in this card.
Yeah,
the other one is so good. This one's just so bad.
Yeah, this Earth Spirit is raging.
Yeah, like, what is this?
Blasting leaves and dirt.
It looks like Captain Planet.
Yes.
Like a stupid version of Captain Planet.
Yeah.
Although that would be a cool altar, if anyone is into altars, I guess.
The Captain Planet Natural Order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be memorable for any of your opponents. We have some people locally, particularly Jason Jaco. I don't know if you've ever played against him.
No.
He really likes his cards to look nice. He has basically all of his decks fully altered, or nearly fully altered. He has a person, I think, in China that he mails his cards to and has them painted.
Wow.
They look gorgeous. Like full arts on like all his dual lands and stuff.
Yeah.
It's sometimes pretty hard to tell what his board or his hand is when we're covering him, but I don't know. It's probably worth it because it all looks pretty cool.
Yep.
So game 2, these games are going to favor Tony more than Phil. Like percentage-wise, that who's gaining more, it has to be the mid-range deck here, I think.
Yeah.
I could see cards coming in like really anything. Could see something even as narrow as Electrickery.
Yep. Yeah, probably bringing in various removal spells, taking out some of his counter spells. And,
Right. Could see Supreme Verdict even.
Right, Supreme Verdict probably a really nice one if Anthony has it.
It kind of-
Pyroclasms if they're available.
I know that Joe Bernal top-aided the Legacy IQ at this past weekend's SCG in Columbus, and it kind of looks like this might be Joe Bernal's list, actually. I know Tony likes to switch up his decks a lot and try different people's ideas out, and
Yeah.
for some reason this is reminiscent of that to me. I could completely be wrong about that, though.
We'll see. Looks like this game Zinni's got a couple forces, a swords in hand, and probably a lightning bolt on top. So he's definitely going to have some interaction that he didn't have last game.
Yeah, the spot removal is so good against Elves.
Yeah.
You just have to slow them down long enough to make your Stoneforge matter.
Right. The question will be if Zinni does have an actual threat. Phil's certainly going to just run Elf after Elf, and if Zinni's not able to put any pressure on, then...
Yeah. That thing with putting pressure on Elves, it sort of forces them to go for more reckless plays. Like, Phil was able to really, pace out his threats last game.
In a very measured way.
Yeah, and he wouldn't be able to do that if Tony had more proactive pressure.
Yep.
Of course, Tony being on the draw last game, that kind of dictated the way the game was going to some extent.
Yeah.
Phil choosing not to morph his Birchlore Rangers, and then cracking a Wooded Foothills, dropping to 19. Another Bayou, not scared of Wasteland. That's probably wise.
Yeah.
So many people have been moving away from Waste.
It really is incredible the degree to which that card has...
Dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely defining top 5 cards in the format without question before Treasure Cruise. And,
Yeah.
certainly still good now, but...
Yeah, it just doesn't fit into as many strategies.
Right.
Something like, like Stifle has also gotten a lot worse, it seems like.
Yep.
Because in the fair tempo matchups, the games just seem to go so much longer that having those dead draws off of your Treasure Cruise is just pretty unexciting and kind of unacceptable, really.
Yeah. So, El's demonstrating why even some spot removal may not be good enough from Zinni. He's going to need to find either a threat or some kind of card advantage spell here. Because Phil able to play 3 spells on his turn and able to sort of beat out the 2 from Zinni.
Yeah, that said, Phil, he doesn't really have any of his engines going just yet.
Right.
He really could use something like Elvish Visionary here to really push Zinni to have pressure of his own.
Favorite land type, Greg, for your basic lands?
Oh, I
Chat
use
considering lots of different ones here.
I use Odyssey Plains for Death and Taxes.
Uh-huh.
In Mono Blue Devotion last year, I used Tempest Islands.
Okay.
I know you were playing Pack Rat for a long time.
I was.
You jackass.
I was playing Pack Rat, yeah.
Tyler might have knocked me out of, I think it was an IQ here. You were playing Black Devotion Splash Green.
Right.
Yeah, you just utterly destroyed me. Did not feel good. It was interesting playing. There's always such a difference between the people playing mono blue against a competent versus an incompetent mono black player. Because whenever someone didn't make a rat, it was great. It was just so great. Oh, I have a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty simple algorithm with Pack Rat. Just do
keep
that.
doing it.
Yep.
Here looks like so Phil Green Sun Zenith. It looks like for Deathrite.
I think he may have played a Deathrite, then used that plus the Burst Lord to find another symbiote.
Another symbiote. Okay.
Yeah. So
maybe he already has a Visionary in hand, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just scared of sweepers and wants to be able to pick up. Or maybe he just wants to activate Deathrite a bunch of times. Frankly.
Yeah. Zinni with a Treasure Cruise here to refill his hand. Looks like he found a bolt.
It seems like that might have nipped Phil's plan in the bud.
Yeah.
You know, if
he may have just. Oh, he has the Batterskull in his hand, sure, from the
Okay.
Stoneforge. So.
Yeah. See what Phil can put together here. It looks like Tony's sitting on a Force of Will and plenty of blue cards to pitch. Might be 2 Force of Wills, actually.
Yeah, it does look like it. So.
Phil looking at a Cradle and I think a Crater Hoof.
I think you are right. So.
So I think that would be lethal. So he's eating the Cruise. I think Phil not wanting to just jam the Hoof because this smells like Force of Will.
Yeah, with Zinni having 7 cards in hand, but.
Yeah, the odds are not. He might just shove, but
He unfortunately it's just not going to get much better for him.
Yeah.
Zinni's going to untap and use Stoneforge and.
So this is 4 mana. 5? No. What is this? Swords in response. So, alright. So this was all in response to the symbiote activation. Part of the cost is picking up the creature. So that's why the Deathrite wasn't untapped just yet.
Ooh, and there's the morph. The Birchler Rangers comes back down as a morph.
You know, it's good against Stoneforge.
That is sort of
It's,
true.
well, when they just put the Jitte on the Stoneforge, at least you can eat their 1 creature
Yes.
with just 1 guy.
that is true. That's true.
Yeah.
It's better than a 1/1 Birchler Rangers here.
At the moment.
No doubt. No doubt.
I'm not saying it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's bolting the morph. Probably not, I guess.
Yeah.
Tony tapping a hideous plateau to cast this lightning bolt.
Really just unacceptable.
Yeah. That's actually, I thought earlier that the plateau was the giveaway because Bernal was playing a plateau in his list.
Was he?
Yeah.
Bernal a big fan of unusual mana choices. 8 basic lands in his legacy deck. Or
I'm not too, like, personally, like, I don't know him that well, but all my interactions with him at tournaments have always been very positive.
Yeah,
Seems like
no,
a nice guy.
He's a good guy. Yeah, I've typed forward with him many times. And
Sweet.
Somebody mentioned Hot Sauce Games a little bit ago. Yeah, I've seen Joe out there at Hot Sauce many times in the western suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah, he's sort of a mainstay of the PTQ / Grand Prix circuit out here. Or
Yep.
I guess SCG circuit is where he's really known.
Yeah, plenty of top 8s and top 4s, and I don't know if he's taken one down yet, but
I don't know.
I wouldn't have been
be,
surprised.
Might be one of the always a bridesmaid
Yeah.
types.
Yep.
Plays a good deck that's really good in the Swiss and then gets a bad matchup in top 8.
Yeah.
Alright, so Battersoul came down at the end of Phil's turn. Tony, he must have the Jit in his hand, right? Yeah, okay.
Almost certainly.
Probably just casting it, yeah. Not tapping Stoneforge, no reason to.
Yep. And thinking about Phil's choice earlier to get the second symbiote, he probably was playing for sort of this situation where he wants to be able to block and bounce.
Fog, yeah.
But unfortunately, with no symbiotes now and 2 relevant attackers.
Yeah, this is not going to be great. So, killing off that Stoneforge, it's important. Revealing the morph, also important.
Yeah.
Tony going to gain some life, up to 21.
So I suspect Phil does have some cards like Abrupt Decay or maybe even some Reclamation Sages that...
Yeah, typically Elves will play 1 Sage in 75 and anywhere from 2 to 4 Decays.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a matchup where you really want to bring in like all 4 Decays if Phil even has access to that many. Killing Jit is definitely important.
Right.
But sometimes overloading too heavily can really disrupt your threat density.
Yeah.
Like, I think the matchup where you really want all 4 Decays is probably something like Countertop. Because
Sure.
you just have to blow up Counterbalance. Your deck doesn't really function otherwise.
Why did that... I think I must have missed something. Why did that Birchler Rangers die last turn?
That's a good question.
Because there's 4 counters right now on the
Yeah.
GT, so...
There should be 3. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a morph. That was not a 1/1.
I think
Yeah,
we're
Tybucks
we're
is correct.
We're well past it, unfortunately. Tybucks,
Yeah.
sorry, we did miss that, but fortunately it didn't affect the outcome of the game. But
Yeah, I mean, the game was functionally over, but
yeah,
I'm just gonna run out and tell them just so they don't.
just in case.
Screw that up again.
That is a good idea. Yep. So the Anthony able to even it up there. Combination of some early spot removal, Stoneforge on turn 3, I believe, and Treasure Cruise to refuel, and that was kind of all it took. Didn't need any sort of sweeper or anything complicated like that. Phil's hand was a little anemic, but he would have taken a very good hand probably from him on the draw there against Zinnies to pull it out. So hopefully Game 3's nice and action-packed for us. Greg's out there letting them know about some minor things. Giving them the business. We've seen lots of stuff today on camera.
Some few snafus.
Yeah.
What can you do?
That's all right. So,
Long days.
yes. Yeah. It is in fact after 10 o'clock already. We do have one more round after this. So.
Yeah. Hopefully we can wrap up at a decent time tonight. Get home to where it's warm.
Yes. Yeah, we were relegated here to the coat closet where it's cold. It's actually not a coat closet, but it does turn out to be fairly cold here.
The back room, which is directly next to the back door, which is, outside it's probably something like 0 degrees at the moment.
Yeah, that's optimistic, I think. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Game 3. We didn't really see any dedicated hate from Tony that game. We just saw him draw a lot of spot removal.
Yeah, just sort of a solid hand. And
yeah, I found when I played I played Elves with Natural Order like earlier late in 2014, and I found that I think Blue-Eye Red can be a really tough matchup just because they have access to Bolt and Swords.
Yeah,
and up to maybe even 8 of those total spells.
Right. They can force your big haymakers and try to control the ground. So.
Yeah, like after board, they just are so dense with cards that interact favorably against you.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for them not to have a pretty good hand, unless it's just too many lands or no lands or something.
Yeah.
This looks like it's just a volcanic and a pass though, so Phil going to get to untap on turn 2 with 2 mana already in play.
I thought I saw Zinni with a Bolt, so I'm surprised to not see him use that here.
He might really just want to save it for a creature that can fog a Stoneforge with legit, potentially. And this is the same exact situation that we saw in Game 1.
Yep.
Phil having 2 mana and going for a Glimpse on turn 2. And Tony forcing it.
And there's the Ranger. So literally, the same sequence of events. And it looks like Phil's hand is even better than it was Game 1. He's got a Symbiote and an Elvish Visionary in hand.
Yeah.
Really gonna put a lot of pressure on Zinni quickly.
And he drew Abrupt Decay.
Yeah.
So probably the first threat that Tony gets out there is going to get decayed.
Yep.
What can he follow up with? Looks like, ooh.
Zinni forces a land go. Looks like his hand is a little land heavy, maybe.
Well, I see one spell that he has in hand is a Containment Priest.
Ooh.
So he might be trying to bait a
natural order. Yeah.
All right, so see what Phil can put together in turn 2 here.
Yep.
Looks like attacking for 1 with a Visionary.
Yield, attack for 1.
Is something dying? Yeah, so Tony is going to want to kill the Symbiote before trying to kill anything else here.
Yeah, he could have been considering flashing in that Containment Priest for the blocks, but
yeah,
opts to take the 1 damage and leave the surprise.
Yeah. It might prove to be a little too greedy, but we'll see with time.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's just doing it to be mana efficient here. I don't mind the lack of a block there because he was just going to bounce it anyway with Symbiote.
Right.
And that way, at least if Phil went for a post-combat Green Sun Zenith, it got some value. Obviously, in addition to just its natural value against a deck with 8 tutor effects.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So it looks like Tony does have Stoneforge here.
Yeah. Yeah, 3rd land, so he if he has a 4th land, he will be able to get some attacks with GTN next turn. But of course,
being Wirewood Symbiote.
Yeah, the same as it's sort of been here.
Yeah, and this is the best possible fog with Elvish Visionary being the creature you get to pick up.
Absolutely.
Phil checking the wording on Containment Priest. I don't know if that was jokingly or not. He might have been looking for my picture on the card. Maybe I'll get that altered someday for him.
He goes ahead and picks up the Elvish Visionary at the end of turn.
Yeah, you should probably gloss over that comment. All right.
Another Ranger for Phil. This is going to be good for him. It's going to
Phil-
really unlock his mana.
Yeah, because that is the one thing about his draw that's not been great, is that he just has not drawn any other land than this Bayou.
Yeah. But now, none needed.
A Cradle would allow Phil to just go nuts on this board.
Yeah, absolutely run rampant.
All right. That looked like a natural order. Not good at the moment, but save it for the future. Maybe if Phil... I mean, I think Phil might end of turn Abrupt Decay this Containment Priest. If given the opportunity.
Yeah. He might went on, turn that Quarian Ranger back over for himself. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not that it's really that big of a deal, but...
Yeah. It looks like that is... So he's adding 2... Oh, he was just eating a bolt. Okay.
Yeah, I think if he had a second mana, you're probably right. He would have gone for that. But
I mean, he might be being patient. He might just want to decay the Jet and try to just keep the board under control and like keep any cruises turned off.
Yeah.
For the time being, wait to draw some more lands, which he did draw Verdant this turn. So.
Yeah. He's definitely got the engine running pretty smoothly here. Now he's really on all cylinders. Mana, cards.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, keeping a GTA at bay is probably his #1 priority.
One thing he has to be careful not to do. So often in these board states, the instinct of the elf player is to fetch a Dryad Arbor, but that should not be Phil's choice since Containment Priest is in play.
Yes.
All right, flashing in Batterskull end of turn for Zinni.
Yep.
Phil just sort of sitting back, biding his time, waiting to pick his spot for when he can deal with the Containment Priest and then go forward all in one fell swoop. We see a block on Batterskull with Elvish Visionary and picking it up with Wirewood Symbiote,
Yep.
fogging the Batterskull effectively. We also see an eating of Force of Will by Deathrite Shaman.
Yep.
So Phil seems in a pretty commanding position, really.
He's definitely in a stable spot. The question's probably going to come down to whether Zinni has cards like Supreme Verdict or something else in hand. But
Right.
frankly, even with the Quarian Ranger and a Symbiote in play, Phil will be able to recover somewhat.
One thing I just saw in Tony's hand, he has another Containment Priest.
Okay.
So the line that I was talking about earlier about decay and into natural order might be a bad idea.
Yeah. The question here, I think, because of that, is really going to be like what Phil wants to play around. If he may not want to flood the board for fear of something like Supreme Verdict, but
Right.
like you said, going for a natural order is not going to work out, unfortunately. Yeah. So, but it looks like here he's really just going to unload and.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he has 3 bounce effects.
Right.
So like, he might be able to recover from Supreme Verdict just as quickly as Tony, really.
Yeah.
Also, Phil has found a Gaia's Cradle,
Yes.
which has really allowed him to turn up the heat in the kitchen.
And it's a big incentive to just play all of your creatures.
Yeah. Yeah, and with 2 symbiotes being able to pick up Elvish Visionary, you just get to do a ton of things.
Yeah. Last game we saw Zinni play 4 removal spells for 1 mana, it looked like, by the 3rd or 4th turn, and here, having just played 1, it's definitely showing.
Yeah, I mean, Phil's hand was really robust this game, and it wasn't particularly, at least so far, it really hasn't been that susceptible to Containment Priest.
Yeah. Yeah, right, he has not needed a Green Sun Zenith or Natural Order at any point.
Right. Aside from just turn 1 to get a Dryad Arbor.
Right.
But no Containment Priest at that point.
No.
Looks like Tony's hand might be 2 cards, a Force of Will, and a Containment Priest.
Yeah.
He might not even want to equip Jitte, because it's not doing anything on this board with the Symbiotes and the Quarian Ranger.
Yeah.
And he might just want to be able to leave up Hardcast Force of Will as an option, because a lot can go wrong on this board, such as Hardcast Craterhoof Behemoth.
Yes. Yes. that would be trouble.
Yeah, that would probably be game.
Buliafikor, we'll let Mark know you like the new overlay. Glad to hear it. Got some nice spiffy new tools like our ability to show you cards at our whims.
I'm digging it too.
Yep.
One of which that is influencing this particular game quite heavily is lovely Containment Priest, which is trying to be slain right now.
Yep. You can see that priest holding Greg's little head in her hands.
That is me.
He's looking off in the distance GQ style. So,
flavor-wise, it really should be I am the Rosario Dawson lookalike holding my opponent in containment, right?
Right, of course. So here's a play you mentioned earlier, Greg.
Yeah. So this is not going to work out super well for Phil. He's not required. Yeah, so he's just shuffling his deck.
Right.
He's not like required to exile a Crater Hoof.
No.
He's just losing the creature he sacrificed and shuffling his deck.
Yep. A little bit of card disadvantage for him here, but not really a concern with his engine in full swing.
Yeah, considering that he's drawn through like approximately a gazillion cards this game with that one Elvish Visionary.
Yep.
I think he still has some mana floating even. Oh boy.
Ooh, and there's a choke.
That plateau is looking great.
Yes, that is true. Joe Bernal special, right? Yeah, resilience to any sort of mana denial.
Specifically choke.
Specifically choke.
Not really anything else.
Yeah, credit where credit's due, right?
Yeah. We're fans.
Yeah. The much maligned plateau coming through.
Yeah, coming through in the clutch in this game. That's probably a little bit out of hand, but
yeah. Engineered explosives would be a nice one.
It would be. Yeah, I guess this is a point where really us maybe getting to see some of Tony's sideboard cards would be really important.
Right. Containment Priest certainly one of those.
That's true.
But really doesn't do anything to control the board once it's gotten out of hand.
Yeah, it's kind of just a matter of time until Phil just draws a Crater Hoof.
Yeah. Does seem like Phil's played this game very nicely, never overextending, making sure to advance his board and build his resources in sort of a very methodical way.
Yeah, he sort of paced his board in measure against Tony's board. Like, he hasn't overcommitted until Tony had also committed a lot of resources to the board.
Right.
And also getting multiple symbiotes, he's given himself a lot of insurance against sweepers. This looks like Abrupt Decay. And also, it does look like Tony has Force of Will. So
with the blue card?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Looks like a Ponder.
Yep. Malpheus, Engineered Explosives for one would be pretty good here. Overloaded Electrickery, lots of good options. Yeah.
Overloaded Electrickery, it would be a big setback, but it wouldn't be game over.
No. There's a Natural Order and a Force.
It's really just a matter of time until Phil can overpower what Tony has going on.
Yeah, if Tony's able to draw some succession of removal spells and Phil whiffs for a few turns, maybe Tony can clear out the symbiotes and the Korean Ranger, but...
Right. This is really where you miss having a flyer.
Absolutely. Or a True Name.
Yeah.
A True Name Nemesis would be another way for Tony to unlock the game.
Right. Even something like Meddling Mage on Wirewood Symbiote. I don't know if that's a card that typically comes in against Elves necessarily, but it seems better than some of the other creatures. Like, you probably don't need all the Stone Forges, frankly, because you really just need to get the Jitte and then get it to work.
Yeah.
And Stoneforge itself is not very good at holding Jit, frankly.
Right. Phil going to gain a couple of life here, getting rid of the Containment Priest.
Yep. Phil also has done a really good job controlling Tony's graveyard. I think, like, one of the few cards that could really catch Tony up here is something like Cruise or Dig Through Time. But at this point, those would be costing Tony a lot of lands.
Yeah.
And a lot of those lands don't untap.
And it looks like he's forced here to go get some islands despite the choke in play. So
I think he probably has both of his non-islands in play.
I suspect you're right, yeah. Yeah, getting an actual island just to make it clear that he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Tightening the noose himself.
So it really just seems all right.
Ooh, and there is a
verdict.
supreme verdict.
Mike picking this up.
Probably.
So Phil able to pick up a couple cards here, but does lose
A
several.
good chunk. So is he activating something in response? All right, yeah, he's eating a land out of Tony's graveyard.
Yeah.
Every card counts.
Fortunately, though, that choke will mean that Zinni's not
Not
gonna
gonna have much more
Very
mana.
much, yeah. 2 mana for probably the rest of the game. Well, depending on what he draws. But
At this point, I think Phil's route to victory might just be recast his creatures and turn them sideways.
yes, that will be fairly straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, this is a...
That's it, though. Just the 2.
it's like a 2-turn clock. I'm surprised he didn't play the Birchlord Rangers face down, actually.
Yeah, sure.
I'm kind of disappointed, in fact. Because he can Pendlehaven his Elvish Visionary.
And that would have been 5 damage.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
unless we have the life totals wrong. Maybe he's not at 10. Maybe he is at something more like 9 or 8.
Yeah, in which case this is sufficient.
So, attack for 4. We think puts Tony down to 6. It might be 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Pithing Needle, drawing out a response from Tony. I don't think Phil was gonna name Scalding Tony.
No.
I think he was gonna name him Azajite.
No.
But
Tony probably just
Yeah.
can't take the chance, though.
Right.
Needs a blue mana for the rest
yeah,
of the game somehow.
needs his lands to do something.
Yeah.
Something like...
So maybe this is Tony's last draw. We could have the life totals slightly wrong here, but
Ooh, that's a costly ponder.
yes.
Might as well throw those lands in the exile zone.
Yeah.
Be gone,
There is
islands.
a meddling mage on there, but
Alright, so
we
he
have to
did...
shuffle.
At least we learned that he brought it in.
Yep. Stoneforge Mystic would be no, not good enough against Pendlehaven. The Pendlehaven coming through.
Yeah.
I was thinking he could block
good.
and untap and equip GT, but that won't be good enough.
Yeah, and now he can't even equip.
Right.
Phil,
Yeah,
very,
Phil.
very excited about Pendlehaven.
Yes. The big fan of
This
that.
looks like a concession.
And that's
yeah.
it.
And a handshake. These guys like each other, even after the beatdowns.
Yes. And there were some firm beatdowns.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's round 3
Yep.
in the books. So we have Elves moving to 3-0. We don't know what happened on the other side of our bracket, but
We had Jeskai Ascendancy and Jeskai Stoneblade, we think.
yeah, it's fine. One thing we do need to still do. Could you get Mark actually? I don't know when he wants to do this. He said he's gonna decide, but
Yeah.
maybe just remind him we have to do this. It's a giveaway.
Yeah.
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 All right, so everyone who hasn't been in the stream the whole night, this is courtesy of MTG Card Market, our host tonight. It's a foil standstill that we will be giving away to one lucky person in the chat. Our fearless leader Mark is going to be joining us at some point soon-ish.
Yeah.
And he'll set up the randomization, and we'll be able to give that away.
Fortunately, now you're guaranteed that this will happen in the next hour. We'd like to think it'll
Yeah.
be sooner, but we don't control the cards. So.
Yeah. We will be going home tonight, though.
Yes, we will. So at some point, it will happen.
This cast will end.
Yep. MTG Card Market, you can check their website out, mtgcardmarket.com. Lots of sales and purchases. Also, make sure to like WUBRGxyz on Twitch. Follow us on
YouTube.
Check us out on YouTube, yeah,
Yeah.
and all the social media.
You guys are terrible at doing
Media
that,
medias.
that like listing it all.
Yeah, well, you do that most of the time.
Oh my goodness.
That's what we're giving away tonight.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know how many people are watching right now.
I don't know. Do you want more?
Let's see. Hold on. I don't know.
Get your friends. Bring them, folks.
Hold on. Yeah, we're just gonna do a quick little chicky check. All right. We're over 100.
All right.
Okay.
This is good. All right, guys. So here's the deal. The
Mark.
raffle has not started yet.
Get your head down.
I'm trying to get in here. All right, let me just. There we go. Fix some shit. There we go. I look beautiful now.
Yes.
All right, guys. I'm going to start the raffle. When I do start the raffle, as people have already started doing, you're going to type !raffle in lowercase. Okay. And
Do you want to put an example into the chat?
I mean, it's already there.
Oh.
And
Underdog.
in order to win, you guys have to be followed. So that is definitely a prerequisite. The contest or the giveaway is open to literally everyone in the world until I find a cost prohibitive country to send it to, and in that case I will still send it to that country the first time. So if you win today, you're getting this standstill. Yeah, then we'll limit it for later. All right, so everybody, yeah, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start this in just a second. Quick second. Oh man, and then I'm gonna list through where'd you guys stop at thanking people for following. So we're gonna close.
You know, we've been doing it periodically.
Reset raffle. All right, raffle's open. Raffle's open. Everybody get it in there. Get it in there. I'm going to rattle off these follows. I don't know. I'm going to start at Professor Top Hat.
That sounds good.
All right, Professor
Start at Underdog. I remember him.
Start at Underdog?
Yeah.
Where's Underdog?
Do
you remember Crooked whatever?
No, you can go down.
Oh, jeez.
We did those.
Jeez.
Right here.
Oh, Underdog. All right, so Mike Gordon, thank you for following. BM Blibba, thank you for following. Dylan Hummel, thank you for following. D20 Ragan, thank you for following. Landon, thank you for following. Mike, oh. All right, so we're back. All right. So it's still going. Real Peaches, thank you for following. Super Gamer, thank you for following. Jay Trundy, thank you for following. Master, thank you for following. Something, thank you for following. Dead Loser, thank you for following. Rush Too Slow, thank you for following. Swarmer Cedar, thank you for following. Wild Timmy, thank you for following. Fishbee, thank you for following. Oh, Jesus. ZB, thank you for following. PC Main, thank you for following. Mickey Zero, thank you for following. Tamo3, thank you for following. All right, guys. Cripple, thank you for following. Gore, thank you for following. So the raffle's going to end in, hey, Simon, what's the name for the... what's the name for We're Done?
What?
What's the name for We're Done?
What's the name for We're Done?
Crazy White Boy, thank you for following. Tiger Big, you're terrible. I don't even know. You're supposed to say something. You're supposed to say something. All right, raffle's gonna end in 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 86. Raffle. All right, whatever. That's fine. Okay. Ready, steady, draw. All right, Beagle 194. Congratulations, you have a foil standstill. Congratulations. Awesome. Thank you, man. And thank you for everybody that just followed. We'll be back again come Monday. And then next Wednesday, next Thursday, we still have another round, so please stay around. Beagle, I'm going to message you super quick. And we should be good. Tyler's just lurking. Tyler needs to get back here.
I gotta put my coat on.
Did you
Oh,
drop?
fuck. I did not. I probably have a ticket on my car.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no.
So, all right. Yeah,
Tyler's just lurking.
Oh!
Oh!
I got a ticket. What's
moment.
your address?
I don't know who. All right.
Chat.
All right.
We need to figure out who we're putting on camera this round too.
All right, so we'll go scroll back up to chat real quick. There you go.
If everybody in chat donates $1, we can clear Mark's ticket.
That'd be awesome if everybody.
Yeah, everybody in chat, you want to cover Mark's ticket?
So the 3-0 match is Elves versus Jeskai Blade. The 2-0-1 versus 2-1 match is Lands versus Jeskai Ascendancy. Some of the 2-1 matches are, it looks like Sneak and Show versus Jeskai Blade, Reanimator versus Jeskai Ascendancy, and then we have Pod versus Nick Fit. So any of those requests would be great. There's actually no one playing Ant here tonight. I'm sorry for misleading you guys earlier. I thought Phil Silberman was playing Ant. He was actually playing Elves. So any of those ones that I just read out would be some of the choices.
Beagle 194 or something like that was the winner for our raffle. Let me see. Yeah, Beagle 194.
All right, you're getting second one now because you guys
Oh yeah, that's
dilly-dabbled.
all right. Wait, what? They're 1 and 2.
I don't know who's
Put
Everybody else is, no. It's
put
late.
Bowman and Chuck. No.
They're 1 and 2.
They haven't even started yet, Bowman and Chuck. They were rolling dice.
They're both
Why?
good players because you guys didn't do anything.
We were reading the names.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask them, but you were
There's lots of
reading
votes
all
for
the other
lands.
stuff.
There's lots of votes for lands. They'd love to get Bowman on screen.
Cycle's playing lands.
All right, we got lands.
There's
on
also a
screen.
2-1 lands.
It doesn't matter. You did really well last week.
I know,
Monday,
I know. But when people are out of the money, they're not taking it as seriously. But
Whatever.
maybe not. Maybe
all right.
not. It'll be great.
Good.
It'll be
This is
great.
better than Lands versus Ascendancy. At least there's
Probably.
gonna be some interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like I don't know how that matchup goes though.
Lands versus Ascendancy?
Yeah.
Cycle's right, Ned's left.
All right. Great. Good grief. All right.
Get it together, guys. Sanford BD, you're probably right. We got to get it together. But we were distracted by the big giveaway. Foil standstill going out to Beagle 194. Next week, we'll have the same kind of raffle.
We have Phil being very disappointed that he didn't win the raffle.
Yeah.
I don't think he entered the raffle, to be fair. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Shouldn't count if you're here.
Thank you, everyone who just followed us. It's really it makes us feel confident that what we're putting out here is, I don't know, enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing it. We're glad you guys have a lot of fun watching it. So.
Yeah. We like Legacy. We also just like Magic,
Yes.
to be fair.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
I don't know if have you noticed that we've started streaming Modern as well on some Wednesdays from here?
Yes, I actually was on stream a couple
Oh,
Wednesdays ago.
nice.
One of my few nights I've been able to play Magic recently.
Sweet. Did you win?
I did.
Yeah.
I got to beat Elves in Modern, which was surprising. So.
Ooh.
And I was playing a deck that I was just playing like Blue Eye Red Control, and
Okay, that seems like a good matchup.
very confused. Yes, it was pretty good. He
Yeah.
played a bunch of Elvish Archdruids, and then they
They
died.
died, yeah.
So
That's how it goes.
yes, yeah.
All right, so dropping us out of the booth here,
All right.
got some action.
So we believe we got Matthew Suckle and Ned. Sorry, I'm not going to say your last name. Kaida Yip. That's probably pretty close.
Yeah. Can reset some of the names here.
Ooh, and there is the Wasteland. So we were talking about that card a little earlier. Haven't seen much of it, but
How do you spell Ned's last name? I always forget. Kaida.
yep.
It's probably me.
Yeah. So Wasteland from Ned. Gonna lead things off for him. Got plenty of action going on here.
It's hard to see.
Wastelands all around, some Rashadan ports. And here is a Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize not that good against the lands deck, but it does look like Ned's gonna be able to take something here. Ned probably gonna be able to get the the crop rotation. Good choice not taking Life from the Loam. And gonna take out Rashadan Port. So from the start of it could be turn 1, but it is in fact turn 3.
Yeah. This matchup seems really bad for Shardless. Like, they don't
yeah.
have a lot of basics. They are supers. Oh, that's not Seckle's name. That's.
Yeah, we figured
Oh boy.
So
it's late.
no permanents in play yet. But, you know, that's just sort of.
That's
That's
Legacy.
okay.
That's classic Legacy.
Ooh, and
This
Ned
is a
without
lot
another land.
This
So
is a
yeah.
lot of wastelands.
Matt has another Wasteland, and Ned is landless here. So
Yeah. You all asked for lands. This is what happens.
yes, we have none of them. Matt does have a Life from the Loam, so yeah, I don't know that Ned's ever going to cast a spell here.
Yep.
We,
We might see a concession pretty soon.
He is Wasteland locked for better or for worse. Razor Verge, hello, good to see you. Rutrovi, you followed a little bit after the raffle. We still appreciate that. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah. Your attention still counts.
Next week, if you're back, we'll have another raffle like this. Foil stencil or something else, sponsored by MTG Card Market.
Yeah.
And there is a concession. So
Yeah, that was quick.
yes, yes.
I think this match, like, Lands has a lot of really lopsided matchups.
Yes.
A lot of them. And one way or the other.
Yeah, it's attacking on an axis that nobody else is really ready for, so.
Except Death and Taxes.
Sure.
And Ant, because it doesn't give a crap.
Right, you just bypass this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing that. That's
Combo?
That's cute.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yep. Sanford BD, yellow swag. Our fearless leader would certainly love to hear you say that. Were he around? We'll let him know.
Yeah, that was definitely a wrecking, as Sasquatch
Yeah.
lets us know, and Sanford also lets us know.
One spell cast in the game, Life from the Loam, prompting a concession.
Yeah,
Pretty easy
getting
stuff.
back, what, 2 or 3 wastelands?
2 wastelands in Orschadenport. So.
That's probably enough.
Yeah, that'll probably do it.
Yeah. So, ways that I can conceive of Ned being able to function in this matchup is probably sticking Deathrite Shaman and Sekal not having Punishing Fire.
Right. He could also board in 10 basic lands.
That would help.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like limited, like you can just go get some from the box, right?
Right.
You can add those to your deck at any time.
Yeah. Yeah, they're public.
Need to change colors for your sealed deck, something like that.
Right.
So maybe we'll see Ned do that. Sekal's beard is also in the chat tonight, I think. Always a very exuberant personality and presence. Let's bring up some of the greatest hits from Lands onto the screen.
This is the first time we've seen Wasteland tonight? I think it was.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and then we saw 4 of them, or three of them very quickly.
Yeah, well, it's going to be more, but you know.
Yes.
Ned has stuff to do. He has a life to live.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to get it all loamed away.
No. I think you're right, though. Some surgical extractions from Ned would be good if he...
That would be great.
If he has those.
Yeah, Surgical is a card, I think it's gone up in value a lot recently. Like, there's a lot of Reanimator and a lot of Treasure Cruising, and both of those cards sound nice to take away.
Yeah.
Or, God, can you imagine surgicaling someone's Jeskai Ascendancies?
Quite good. Quite good. Yeah, it's got to be hard to lose from that spot.
Yeah, pretty impossible, I think. Unless it's Wind's Endicon beats.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about graveyard options earlier. Yeah, I mean, surgical, free and instant speed is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Fairy Macabre, also one that gets forgotten, but has...
I also like surgical a lot in a lot of the really spell/cruise heavy decks. Just being 0 mana it's pretty important in a lot of scenarios.
Definitely. I've always liked that card in Modern with Snapcaster Mage because you can really get a lot of value.
All right, so we'll see if Sekal has as effective opening here. And it seems like both players are keeping their hands.
And you mentioned this while they were sideboarding, Greg, the Deathrite Shaman on turn 1. Really where Ned needs to start.
It definitely seems like his best card in the matchup. That and maybe Basic Swamp.
Yeah. It does look like Matt has a couple red cards in hand, but they might be gambles.
Yeah, I saw at least one gamble.
Yeah.
I also see a Mana Bond, and I think a Life from the Loam. I'll be curious to see if he goes for Mana Bond here.
Yeah, especially if he only has 2 lands or 3 lands in hand.
Yeah, not every land hand is actually great at mana bonding.
He may play it and choose not to activate or choose not to use it.
Just get it in play for a rainy day or something.
Then it can't be thought seized or...
Right.
Well, I'm not sure how good thought seize is, but...
Can get decayed, but I guess decay might come out in this matchup. Although it blows up exploration too. Maybe it's okay.
Yeah, Merit Age tokens are indestructible, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Of course.
Yes.
You can Flicker Wisp them, though.
Oof, I bet you've done that.
Yeah, feels real good.
Yeah.
You can also Caracas it.
Yes.
There's a lot of things you could do. I've also Swords to Plowshares did. That wasn't as good, but
yeah.
I have won a game where I've done that.
Ah, that's pretty good.
It did involve Mirren Crusader with a Sword of Fire and Ice on it, though.
Yeah, that's what, 10 damage
It's
or
a
something?
lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of
lot.
damage. Yeah. Another Deathrite Shaman, but no second land, so Could prove a little tough for Ned. So he probably did keep a hand leaning on Deathrite Shamans and hoping to draw lands. And
Yeah.
we'll see if it works out. But, ooh, a Punishing Fire, it looks like in Matt's hand.
Yeah, that seems like the way to go. But he does not have red mana because he fetched a basic forest off of his wooded
Yeah.
foothills. I guess he did see Ned had Wasteland in game 1, so he was probably just scared of losing his green source.
Yeah. Some interesting choices here. Kind of in the first couple turns leading to
Yeah.
an odd position.
I wonder how many times Ned has had the chance of playing against lands, because I find that I get better and better against, like, I haven't had the chance to play against lands that many times.
Yeah.
You know, I've probably only gotten to play like 5 matches in my whole life.
Right.
And you're learning more and more what matters for any given deck against lands,
Yeah.
because they're working on such odd axes.
I'm curious a little bit that Matt didn't play Life from the Loam last turn just to start dredging. That
Right.
Yes, he got to use the port, but Ned has a top in play, so...
Yeah, so he should be able to find
Yeah.
some mana in theory. And it looks like he has found a fetch land.
And if Matt's not really getting his engine started, then eventually Ned's going to
Right.
crank things up.
I guess Sekel's idea could be that he hasn't been put under any pressure, so he doesn't really have a reason to push on the gas yet. And having 2 Mazaviths, you know, Ned can't really even attack into him.
No.
And another port coming into play, meaning that whenever Sekel finds another land, double port is in play.
Yeah, and this port I like even less. Now that you know Ned has a fetch land in play, he's going to have at least 2 mana available to him, and this way very likely 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So I would look for Matt to try to get his Life in the Loam started. And whereas now, I mean, if Ned plays something like a Liliana, or he's going to be able to really do some work on Matt's hand, and Matt's not going to have any real recourse.
Yeah. I guess my concern is just, like, how is Ned actually putting any pressure into play? His deck is so based on grinding out long game advantages against fair decks.
Yeah.
And really, lands is not a fair deck. It's not trying to play a fair game in any way.
Right.
It's trying to lock your... I mean, it's a prison deck, right? And it's a prison deck that's susceptible to early game pressure because it takes some time to get its engine going.
Right.
And that's... like, Shardless BUG just really doesn't afford you that sort of clock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just going to outgrind Shardless BUG. So, yeah, I mean, I mentioned Liliana, but you're probably right that I'm not even sure how good that is, because
Yeah.
Matt can discard Life from the Loam and then dredge.
Right. Yeah, like, I mean, Ned might be able to maneuver into a point where he can, like, get Matt to discard, and then basically whatever Matt's discarding, he's eating with Deathrite.
Right.
Maybe.
Right, if he could play Liliana and then have Deathrite available.
It really seems like Sekel is just banking on drawing a red source for Punishing Fire. That's what it seems like, at least.
Yeah.
Here we're probably seeing a port target. I want to say Bayou. It might be Trop, though.
Yeah, Deathrite, there's 1 land available for Deathrite, but...
Alright, it looked like going after the blue source. I commonly, I try to go after non-blue sources with port, I've just found, because, like, they're just more blue instants, you know?
Right.
More of a chance they're going to get to use the mana anyway. But this isn't really a normal sort of scenario, a normal fair game scenario. Here we see the Lily come into play. So maybe Ned's working his way into this game. Matt just really hasn't presented too meaningful of a resistance yet.
Nope.
Looks like he's discarding Gamble.
Yeah. And yeah, here Matt unable to discard the Life from the Loam because of...
Active Deathrite.
Yeah. So no real imminent pressure for Ned, but he's building towards something here. I mean, Matt really does... You know, if he draws a red source, things change quickly, but we will see. Matt continuing with the port plan. And interesting to see how weak Mana Bond has been this game. Matt's just drawn spell after spell.
Yeah.
Pretty awkward.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally the deck's been called, what, like 40 lands
Yeah.
or something?
think it's probably something like 38 now, or
Yeah, it probably dropped some when it got Dark Depths.
Right.
Because you want to be a little more aggressive at trying to find that. Right.
Yeah, and Ned knew that this would be the sequence with Shardless bugs, or the Shardless agent, so he's willing to...
Taking away exploration is great against lands.
Yeah. Interesting that he would choose not to Thoughtseize there. If he thinks that Matt has something like a Punishing Fire or a Life from the Loam, using Deathrite Shaman, he might be able to snag it in that situation, but I'm sure that option will stay available to him this next turn.
And Sekul just has not been able to find a red source. Looks
No.
like he is porting both blue sources.
Yep.
Ned activating top with one of those lands in response. Gibbous in the chat comments that he or she remembers when land's best win condition was Creeping Tar Pits.
Yes. Quite a good win condition, though, really. Surprisingly fast.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
You know what's faster, though, is a 2020.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah.
Except, when your opponent has flying blockers, I suppose, but...
You can it can be a turn 2, right? If you mana bond into play them and then use it end of turn.
Yeah, you can have the nuts.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's good clean living.
I think I saw, was it Royce Walter was playing against lands. He was the Ant player in the top 8 of GP New Jersey.
Okay.
And he was playing against lands in one of the very last rounds of the Swiss, which is a great matchup for Ant.
Yeah.
And he actually lost game 2 though to what looked. I was watching the match and it looked like, I think it was either a turn 1 or a turn 2 Merit Lage. It was just a hyper draw.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ant, is certainly can win at that same pace, but is not guaranteed to
hand.
at all.
They mulligan a fair amount of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes they keep a hand where they have a ton of cantrips.
Yep.
Alright, so it looks like Sekul is playing a Mox Diamond, so he's found red mana, but it might be a little late.
Yeah, and he's gonna go ahead and gamble here. Almost certainly.
Dark Depths? No, he's going for. Looks like Grove. That's what he pulled out.
Huh.
Makes sense. He really just needs to eat these Deathrite Shamans somehow.
A card I don't know. How good would Tabernacle be? Maybe not good enough here. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
he
too
has
many
enough.
mana for Ned.
Yeah. It would just be an annoyance, probably. And he could let, if Tabernacle was it, he could let something like the Shardless Agents just die.
Right.
So what are they really bringing to the table here? Alright, so Life from the Loam getting discarded to gamble.
And you're right, he did get a Grove there, so...
Yeah. He knows step 1 is getting these Deathrites off the table, I think.
Yep.
I don't know if it doesn't seem like he's going to do it just yet, because he wants to be able to get them both off the table with the same Punishing Fire, if at all possible. I don't think he needs to port here.
No, it's really not clear it's providing any value.
Yeah. So it looks like Ned is fetching. He's probably just resetting the top of his library for his Sensei's top. Ned shuffling up, probably going to top in his upkeep.
Yeah, Sanford BD, not sure if Matt does have the Tabernacle. It is a fairly expensive card.
Like $400 or $500.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeesh. If there was ever a reason to not play lands.
Yeah. That could be it. You only need one, but...
One is a lot.
One is a lot. Yeah.
One is not 0.
Yeah. One is 10 blue-white heroic decks.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, or maybe more. Yep. So yeah, Matt chugging away here. Looks like he may have gotten in for 4 there, did he? With the Shardless Agents. Okay.
Well, he probably attacked with the Goyfs and those got mazed.
Right.
Oh, right. So yeah, 4 life.
Oh, Tabernacle's $700.
Oh,
Says Stanford
okay.
BD. So yeah, understandable if if Matt declines to
Can you get like an Italian one?
pick one of
This
those.
isn't- this
They
is
were.
Legends,
It was
right?
Legends. Yes. So.
I have 1 Italian Caracas.
Yes.
Looks nice.
I
Looks
do
nice.
as well, actually. Yeah. It was a steal. 20% off or something. 30% off.
Sick. And it has like a darker printing, so it looks kind of nicer. I
Yeah,
think personally.
I agree, actually. Yeah. Yep. Punching Fire going to come down here.
All right, so it looks like Ned is trying to figure out a way to eat this Punishing Fire. I don't think there is a way, though, because Sekal has his Grove untapped. I guess he can just wait. He can just leave it there. And whenever Sekal tries to return it to his hand, Ned can eat it then. So he actually wants to wait on it, I believe. It's a weird cat and mouse.
I'm not
kinda
quite sure
game.
where we are here, actually. Is
I
it
think it's
Matt's
the end
main
of,
phase?
I think it's the end of Ned's turn. I think.
No, that was
No?
Matt's turn. I'm
Oh,
not really
you're
clear
right.
why Matt did not dredge Life from the Loam.
Huh. Maybe he's trying to draw another Punishing Fire. Because he knows that this one's kind of stuck there.
Yeah, but dredging is better, right? Then you can
You're
put it into
right.
the graveyard.
Oh, yeah. You're definitely right.
Ned has no option to react to that. He either does it in
Yeah.
Matt's upkeep or misses the opportunity. So
Mm-hmm.
surprised Matt didn't dredge there, but
All right, Counterbalance. Interesting that this is in the deck post board.
yes.
I guess all of Sekal's spells cost 1 or 2,
Right.
and the most important ones cost 2.
Right.
So if Ned can just float a 2,
And
Does
just
a lot
never
of
change
work.
it, yeah. And Matt's not really going to interact with him at instant speed at all to
Right.
jeopardize that. There's so it certainly seems powerful.
So this is a trigger on Punishing Fire, right?
Yes. Right,
So
so,
Ned-
a life has been gained, which triggers Punishing Fire. Ned
Right.
has the option here to respond, which it looks like he will use.
Right. So yeah, Ned eating Punishing Fire in response seems like the thing to do.
Yep.
And I think that is what he is doing.
Matt might be considering, is there some other way I can have him gain life?
Right.
If the Thespian stage is a Grove of the Burn Willows, which it may very well be,
Very good.
then that is his choice.
That's awesome.
So we may have missed that earlier, but yeah, it looks like the Thespian stage is a Grove of the Burn Willows. So
All right. This might actually allow Sekal to claw back into this game.
yeah, definitely. Having 2 of them.
Okay, I think we missed a drain earlier.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they are using dice. Ned's life total is pretty irrelevant. If Sekal's gonna win, it's probably gonna be not particularly close at the end. This Liliana could also ultimate at any point. I
Right,
think.
putting the mazes in one pile and the groves in another.
Yeah, so it might be just too far gone of a game. Fortunately, game 1 took about 3 minutes.
Right.
So
There's plenty of time.
as long as this game's been, game 1 was similarly or conversely short.
Yep. So here Matt will choose to dredge. Okay. Makes a lot of sense, but it hits no lands, unfortunately, for him. Yeah, really just has hit a lot of spells this game.
Yeah. You really want probably a 2-to-1 mix with this deck.
You're right.
Just
right.
a couple spells. Alright, and that mana bond comes into play that's been rotting in Matt's hand all game.
Yeah.
He might have just been tired of looking at it. Loam.
So Matt willing to do this here because he does have 2 Punishing Fires in his graveyard. So he's accepting the idea that Ned might just use his death. Oh, the Deathrite Shaman
Yeah,
is
Death-
dead.
Deathrite's dead.
They're gone. Yeah.
So this is sort of an opening. Ned might have to just blow the Lily
Yeah.
to set Sekal back a few more turns.
Probably why Matt did play the Mana Bond, since it is going to leave him with
Ned ticking up though.
Yep. Interesting. Sanford Liliana is now at 7.
Yeah, it's not a 9-sided die.
No.
Just upside down.
Yeah, 9-sided die is rare. At least here in the Midwest, very common. Other parts of the country.
Yeah.
Very
That is Ned's Ned's signature drawn on Underground Sea.
Yeah.
There's a story behind it. I've heard it a couple times. I don't want to tell it because I'd butcher it. I think basically he traded for it at a big event at a heavy discount because someone just drew on it.
I would do it.
Yeah.
Perfectly legal.
Sounds good. It's an altar, right?
Right. Yeah. By a 10-year-old.
Yeah. All right, getting in for 4 more.
Yep.
So good draws for Matt at this point. I guess it's more like good dredges.
Yeah. ZRS1, I would tend to agree with you. If Ned had just blown the Liliana there, used her ultimate ability, put the Mazevis in one pile and all the other cards in another, with the 2 Tarmogoyfs, Matt
It might have prompted
would
a
have just been
concession.
dead, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, playing a little too conservatively, perhaps.
yeah, especially with Matt tapped out and no cards in hand,
He might want to just go up to 7 so he can ult Lily and still have it around
right.
if somehow the game continues on. I could definitely imagine Ned just untapping and doing it immediately.
Yeah. I would imagine he will.
Yeah, and they do have to keep in mind that if they need to play game 3,
Right.
I mean, I guess 24 minutes is plenty of time, but
Yeah, man, interestingly, Matt probably here is in a stronger position to win in a few minutes than Ned is, either
yeah,
with Wastelands or Dark Depths.
yeah, it's bizarre.
It is very strange. Very strange indeed.
Ned gaining a little life as Sekal brings back a Punishing Fire, which he throws at Liliana,
Yeah,
which is
and this-
now not able to ultimate.
Right. Matt
Chances missed.
Matt navigating this pretty well.
Yeah, Matt's... I don't know how long Matt's been playing. As long as I've known him, he plays lands in Legacy, though.
Okay.
So this is what he knows.
Yeah.
And I respect that. And it shows, I think.
Legacy definitely a format that rewards, really knowing a deck inside and out. Like you said earlier, many players haven't played against lands. They know some of the theory, but the specific interactions and tactics, they're just not going to know.
Yeah, there's a good amount of edge to be gained. That's why you see a lot of players who pick up Legacy for the first time, especially recently. Like, Blue-Red Delver is actually a really good beginner's deck for Legacy.
Right.
Like, it has so much raw power and a very straightforward game plan of kill your opponent, attack and burn their face.
Yeah.
And it lets you at least have a shot against basically anyone, and also just get exposed to a lot of the oddball decks out there.
Yeah. Matt's got an interesting sequence available to him here over the next couple of turns. Not quite sure if it's going to work out, but he could wasteland his own Thespian stage that's a Grove of the Burnwillows.
Sounds good.
Dredge it back, and then turn his Dark Depths into a 20/20, so...
Yeah, that might do it.
Yeah. It looks like he may go to 1 here if we have life totals. Yeah, we do.
Yep.
So he's going to go to 1 here, but it's possible this will work out. We'll have to see.
Scraping.
Unfortunately, though, that it would not kill Ned in one fell swoop. So
Yeah, I think Ned's at too high of a life total from the Grove activations.
and he's probably a few mana short to, also kill Ned with something like the Punishing Fire.
Yeah.
So we will see. That Radon dude, thanks for following. A little while ago.
Yeah.
Ooh, Thespian Stage keeps the copy ability. Thank you, Magrish Barman.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely matters here that that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, could have pulled the card up.
We can.
Yeah.
We have life from the low one.
This was you don't know what you don't know, though. We were ignorant that we thought we knew the card and did not. So for those of you who shared our ignorance, or my ignorance, Thespian Stage with Dark Depths, able to make a 20/20. We may see that here, but it may not be good enough for Matt.
Well, say something.
I'm trying to figure out what Matt's going to do here. It looks like he's going to fire off a Life in the Loam.
Hello, my name is Gregory Schaefer. I like to scum some people. I scummity scum. So where okay, life from there. Is Seckle really at 1?
Yes, he is.
Seckle's beard's gotta be sad. Seckle's beard, weigh in on this. How do you feel about the man you were attached to being only at 1? I'd be a little afraid.
Let us know. 1 is much greater than 0, though.
It is.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to find another, like a third Mazavith,
yeah,
in order to do some stuff.
Yes, I think you could be right.
Let's crack that fetch. Got it.
Oh.
Hashtag fetchline sucked. Look at that. I've been here for like 5 minutes. Was able to get it in there. Get it in there. Everybody get it trending.
It's
good.
Get it trending, folks. Put it out there. Let the interwebs know.
I think you just play the other Liliana you have in your hand.
Why not?
And then you just say yes.
Yeah.
I think that's what you do.
Keep them both.
Seckle's beard tuning in.
Thanks, Sucklesbeard. Don't worry, he won't lose you. He's going to come roaring back in Game 3.
Was this only Game 2?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yes. Game 1 took about 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I was in here for Game 1.
Right,
so
right.
Good. We're going to see a lot of, I guess, is he topping? Why is he drawing 4 cards here?
Yeah, he...
is there a library out
that's
there?
his hand. He's brainstorming.
Oh,
here.
brainstorming. All right.
Yeah, so... It doesn't get confusing with brainstorms and tops.
So what good stories have you guys told on stream? Have you told any? Has Greg gotten in trouble with Marianne tonight?
No, I don't.
No, or have I? Excuse me. Have I gotten in trouble with Marianne tonight?
We've gotten you in a lot of trouble with Marianne.
No, I'm Greg Schaefer now. That's
oh.
I'm
right.
I'm Mr. Gregory Schaefer.
Yes.
I like to play Death and Taxes. Herper derper derper derp.
Spot on.
Can't even tell the difference. Actually, the same.
So, is there a reason why Matt didn't wasteland something and just dredge it back with loam? TS3141 wants to know.
Yeah, at this point, I think Matt's just trying to conserve all of his possible mana. He probably needs every bit of it to try to stay alive here. Not even sure if he's going to be able to do it, but he's gonna...
That's a 2020.
Ooh, and that 2020 is going to block.
Yeah. Is it? I don't think you block here. If you're at 1 and you have 2 Mazaviths, you just say, bring it, boy.
It's possible Matt's going to win this game. He's definitely going to get to block. He's going to be able to maze and stay alive at 1. Liliana's going to kill the 2020 post-combat, but after that, Ned's going to be out of threats, really.
Maybe. I'm going to go with a strong maybe.
A strong maybe, yeah. Resounding maybe.
Ned's got 14 things in hand, though.
Yeah.
So,
TS3141, you're definitely right. The Life in the Loam, getting back the Wasteland would have done it, so would have been a free Wasteland for him against Ned.
You don't need it.
Yeah. Don't even need it.
No, you don't need it. You just go YOLO.
Yeah. YOLO swag.
Gotta have that YOLO swag. Yeah. Done.
So here is some dredging. Looks like on a Mutavault, which could actually work out all right.
Yeah. And Jeffrey K., we had some elves on camera earlier. Always on Thursdays. Always when you can't watch.
Yes.
Because we secretly hate you.
We did start without you. We decided that starting the tournament at 11 o'clock would be a little late. We considered it for 3 hours while we played Magic and then decided...
No, Greg's done peeing.
It was too late.
I only fill in for a minute. Because Tyler just leaves dead air. And then I'm like, what are you doing, Tyler?
I like to leave silence for people to absorb the words of wisdom we have here.
Silence is peaceful and Mark is unaware.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, in any case, it looks like Matt has
Pulled out of it.
kind of pulled his way into this. I mean, he's still facing down counterbalance top, but Ned is so far not found any 2-drop to
stop
to be able to stop him after 6 or 7 turns here.
It seems like that missed Liliana ult might come back to haunt Ned.
Yeah.
Like maybe he had to be more aggressive with it.
Right.
Try to push his advantage.
Yeah, I mean, if he puts the two mazes in one pile, Matt has to keep those, and
yeah, or else he just dies.
Right.
Like Matt's at 1 life.
Right.
Anything is lethal.
Yep.
But he just can't find another threat.
Yeah. Matt doing a really nice job though throughout this game of juggling all the very different threats going on.
Yeah. Like, does Matt have stage dark depths in his graveyard or not yet?
He does. Yeah, he should have both components there.
Okay.
So.
Because you could, like, if he's able to loam them back and mana bond.
Yep.
Might be able to turn the corner very quickly.
Yeah, interesting that he did not do that on his last turn, actually. Not really sure why that happened.
I don't know. So this is a Shardless agent, which gets, Abrupt Decay for mana bond.
Yeah.
That seems good.
Unfortunate for Matt.
And this looks like a Punishing Fire going after a Shardless agent.
Yep. Ooh, and there's the him to charge.
Ned
So
set up a 2.
So that might be good enough here. Unlikely Matt's gonna be able to play any more spells next turn, so he'll have to naturally draw a relevant land.
Yeah. Well, he can bring back. Can't he bring back? Oh, I guess yeah, because he can't Punishing Fire. You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
So another maze, or yeah, and that's
Alright.
it. So man, after a
Crazy.
really close game.
That was pretty cool.
Yes. Salman the Great. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, he did. Of course, it got countered. We're a little it's a little late here, a little sloppy on our part.
I think we should make a rule that you can't put lands on camera in round 4.
Yeah.
That should be a rule.
Prohibited.
Yeah. It's hard on a weeknight. It's after 11 o'clock here in Chicago.
Well
and,
past my bedtime.
Yeah. Also, if you need to cut out, you should just tell Mark.
I was kidding.
All right. I mean, some people do at bedtime.
Not a legitimate bedtime, but
yeah.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
Fighting for glory in round 4 in the 1-2 bracket.
14 minutes left after that long slog, but
you could see. I mean, I think you're right though. In this matchup, lands has the potential for a more explosive game.
Right. I mean, Ned. What's Ned really gonna do? Deathray Shaman into Shardless Agent into like
Guard Tarmogoyf.
Right into Tarmogoyf, and
right.
like all of Matt's tools fight that so well.
Exactly. Any number of cards could break that up from Matt.
Yeah, with Matt on the play here, any one of his green 1-mana enchantments is going to be really backbreaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, is Ned leaving in Force of Will?
I believe he did. I saw something going into game 2, and I don't think he sideboarded them out, and that's...
I think it makes sense leaving it in, right? Because
you
just need to try to slow them down and maybe stop exploration.
I think on the play, I'm not so sure about it because you have so many other tools to work with. But certainly on the draw, you can't afford to have him resolve a mana bond or an exploration turn 1.
So it looks like Ned has a 1-lander, and it doesn't look like a blue land.
Yeah.
Unless one of those is a fetch, but it looks like he has 2 counterbalances and a Bayou. Looks like a mulligan to me. Yep, both players mulliganing.
Yeah. A couple of Croson Grips. It looks like Matt's hand, not really where he wants to start out.
Not exactly.
No.
I wonder what those are really going after.
I was thinking about that. I'm not sure.
You don't really care about Shardless Agent.
No, I would imagine not.
It's more of a means to an end card.
Yeah. I'm
really not sure.
Yeah, all the graveyard options he might be concerned about would be able to.
It's really just death
get around. Yeah. Right. Or I was thinking if he's worried about something like Tormod's Crypt, or maybe he's got Croson Grip for those, but that doesn't seem really relevant. So
maybe like Pithing Needle.
Counterbalance, Fishby backdash. Yes, of course.
Right.
Very straightforward answer for that. So we continue to embarrass ourselves here.
I mean, how much does lands care about counter? Like, I guess he did in that game.
Right, and if Ned had found it 2 earlier, it would have been.
Yeah, I guess
kind
that's
of locked
really
him
bad.
out.
Okay.
So.
Fine. I can see.
So it looks like Ned does have a blue, the Force Will here, but I don't know if he has a blue card.
He dropped to 5, right?
Yeah, he is at 5.
Yeah.
Fortunately for him, Matt is without a 1-drop.
Really, well, he has a 1-drop, but it's crop rotation.
Yes.
Turn 1, Creeping Tar Pit from Ned.
Yeah, we were speaking about that card earlier. Always a nice one.
I kind of like wastelanding that if I'm Matt. He mulled the 5. Why not make him have it?
Yeah, yeah, right. Just make sure that he's got it. And yeah, not doing that and then having him follow up with his Deathrite Shaman is...
Yeah, I guess he's getting rewarded, though, because, like, Ned has 2 more lands.
Yeah.
If he has, so Cycle does not have the Punishing Fire. He has, he just drew it.
Yeah.
And he has the Grove.
Yeah. Interesting that Ned didn't fire off the hymn, the hymn to Turok in his hand. It's not going to get any better, and with Deathrite, there's a reasonable chance that it just gets killed here.
Maybe he's just very anxious to get it active.
Yeah. But it's a little less mana efficient this way, and
it is. If
Matt does have a removal spell, or the Punishing Fire, then...
yeah, that makes sense. I agree.
You don't really want to have him discard something like Life from the Loam, but if Hymn to Turok's still in your deck, then you've sort of got to use it what's at your disposal.
Yeah. K-Fink reminding us of our combined ignorance.
Or forgetfulness about the way that Ned closed out Game 2.
Yeah. We have very short attention spans here.
Yes.
All right, Force of Will is going to try to protect Deathrite Shaman, which makes sense because now he's going to be able to untap and eat the Punishing Fire. Well,
except for the Grove.
Except for the Grove.
Yeah, I really don't know if I like that play because...
maybe it wasn't worth it then.
Yeah, why bother?
Yeah, not having a Force of Will or anything for the... or a Wasteland for the Grove, too.
Yeah,
Him. Okay.
So here Ned's going to be able to follow up the hymn with a Tarmogoyf, it looks like, which is reasonably good, and that Tarmogoyf may be able to evade Punishing Fire for a while, but
right.
Matt's got a fairly full hand and a crop rotation to find something like a maze, so Ned's going to be empty-handed in just a couple moments and probably in a lot of trouble.
Something Sekal can do also is, so he can just not try to return Punishing Fire end of turn, force Ned to keep up Deathrite.
Yeah.
But then when Sekal untaps, he can wasteland the Tar Pit, force the action, and then get back the Punishing Fire.
Right. Yeah, there isn't really a way here for Ned to actually get rid of the Punishing Fire.
Right. Hymn to Turok, going after some cards.
Yeah, a couple 5s and 6s. Thanks, Ned, for wasting our time.
Yeah.
All right.
Maze.
So there's the crop rotation and a maze. So.
Yeah.
So with those 2 cards going to the bin, I don't know. Tarmogoyf is pretty tempting.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Especially because, like you pointed out, there isn't a line by which Ned actually gets the Punishing Fire. He can't avoid it. So
yeah, I believe so, right?
he should just play the Tarmogoyf while he has the chance. He's going to have no green mana right now, once the Shaman is dead.
Right. Yeah, I think if Sekal leads with Waste, he can get rid of this Deathrite. I think he's figuring that out right now.
Yeah.
He might not care, but it seems worth it. I think.
With Ned having no green mana, and it's got to be pretty tempting.
And you kill the Tar Pit.
Right.
You leave him with just 2 blue-black lands. And,
yeah.
And just says go.
All right.
And draws another Underground Sage.
Yeah, so Ned forced to just pass back again, sticking with the same sort of plan.
Yeah, just needs to draw a Bayou or a Tropical Island to deploy his Tarmogoyf.
Yep.
Looks like he is copying Grove of the Burnwillows.
All right.
So this is another way to
get around it.
Bully the Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah,
basically.
and he, without any other lands in hand, he might have just wanted to keep all the mana on the table.
Yeah,
that he
that's a
has.
good point. Yeah, I guess he just had spells left, right?
Yeah.
So needs to keep the Wasteland around, and he wasn't really under any pressure to act quickly anyway.
Nope.
Seems like we might get some action right now, though. Sekal considering his options. He has what looks to be a Crozen Grip, and do we know his other card in hand?
I'm not sure, but
Right.
yeah, given that Ned doesn't have any green mana without the Deathrite, like you said, it makes sense to kind of go for it here.
Yeah. Sekal, alright, so he's initiating action, and I think Ned's going to realize pretty quickly that this is not going to work out well for him. But he really doesn't have a choice.
No.
Cycle activating his copy to grow over the Ronwells.
Probably his best choice is to eat the crop rotation. and just train him for 2.
Knows it's a losing effort.
Yeah. At least he gets some value out of it.
Yeah. I mean, Cycle even has... Yeah. He has a lot going on this turn. He can also save the Wasteland now for whenever Ned does draw a green source.
Right. Yep, it looks like Matt's firmly in control here. Cards that could get Ned out of it.
Factors that could get Ned out of this include the time left in round.
Yes. Yes. Probably one of the most relevant.
Alright, here's the Punishing Fire.
Yeah.
Which is going to do its job.
Matt does have one piece of the puzzle with the Thespian stage, so if he's able to find a Dark Depths or another crop rotation, or then he'll be able to end the game quickly.
There was Sekko was attempting to cast a green 2-drop.
Yes.
Mistakenly showed Crows and Grip when he meant to clearly show Life from the Loam. Not a big faux pas.
No.
Ned not having any other plays. He's getting in for 3, getting aggressive with his tar pit.
Yep, gotta sneak in there while you can. Double Crows and Grip now, looking somewhat unnecessary.
Well, yeah, just has an insurance policy.
Yeah, yes. Yep.
Cycle deploying his 1 land for the turn, not having exploration. This process is going to be somewhat slower.
Yeah, both players probably should, or at least Matt should probably pick up his pace of play here while nothing's going on, just to ensure that he's able to get done in time.
Some people who recently followed NS Production Z14, thank you for the follow, as well as I Fall Like Snow.
Yep, you are unique. We appreciate your joining in.
Thank you very much.
And Crystalline also. Did you like that one, Mark?
Tyler, I'm not gonna lie, Tyler. You sound like you've lost all of your soul. Just when you're like,
this is what happens when you put lands on camera around 4 Mark.
You did an Ascendancy mirror match earlier. I don't want to hear.
Well, that was great. That was great.
Sorry to you out in the stream. Our energy is flagging.
Well, see, Bipolar Express, thank you for the follow, and then German Mama, thank you for the follow. See, there we go, done. Look, I'm bringing a freshness and exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
You are always fresh.
I'm attempting not to tearbag you guys. It's
That's
all right.
much appreciated.
Yeah, I would prefer if you succeed in that attempt. Should you fail in your attempt, I'll be disappointed.
It's all right. It's good.
No, you don't. No, it's not.
That's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
Windfox, thank you for following.
Yes. See, your exuberance is prompting many more follows.
Yeah.
Jeskai Ascendancy mirror match. Goobazoom.
Gibson.
Yeah, it was great.
Goobazoom, I think. Actually.
I like it. I like Gibson.
That match was sweet. You guys are nuts. So much happened. It was very hard to cover. I will say that.
Yeah, there were a lot of things happening.
Yeah, a lot of spells.
Mango, it was grueling. Jeffrey K, thank you.
Jeffrey K.
Yeah, Jeffrey. Okay,
Jeffrey K.
There was an extra syllable in there. I wasn't
That's
sure
true.
where we were going.
Lots of E's.
Yeah.
Windfox, thank you for following.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, like
back to the match.
Yeah. Very exciting. Ancestral visions likely to resolve at some point here, which will involve many extra interactions. Luminarch Ascendancy mirror. Unfortunately, we did not see that. Although that would have been fairly exciting.
I do a Luminarch Ascension. It's whoever's on the play, or whoever plays Luminarch Ascension first.
Right.
And Ibrahim Rio. Hello.
I think it's Ibrahim Leroy.
No, not like Ibrahim Rio. I think is correct.
Yeah, no, that definitely is.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Undeniably. Yeah.
So Ned was considering fetching up a basic forest until I think he realized that he had cracked a polluted delta. So That wasn't an option.
Not at all, yeah. With a minute 33 left here, something's going to have to happen pretty quickly.
Yeah. They might have an extension for being on camera, but...
No,
Yeah.
timing
No.
round did not start until they sat down.
Okay,
Alright,
yeah, Matt
alright.
here to be firing off Punishing Fire seems pretty irrelevant. He should be, I think, just trying to find Dark Depths or Bust
Yep.
as soon as possible.
It's a lot quicker than trying to Punishing Fire them to
Yeah.
death.
No, but I think he's punishing fire just to get Ned below 20,
20.
which he is. He's at 20 right now because of the punishing fire.
Right.
Or actually, I guess 19. And now he does have the Dark Depths in his yard, so now he can just make a thing and swing in and win.
Cool.
All right.
What's in play, too? He just played it for turn.
Right.
So this might be the last turn of the game, in fact. That's a little late for Ned. Needed that green source a little while ago. You want to bring up Dark Depths?
Get it. Yeah, you... Oh.
And that is it. Yeah, Matt going for the 2020, able to,
Seems
to
like a
take it
thing.
down in the last few seconds.
Wow. All right, well, that was
Pretty,
the last...
pretty
that's the last
exciting
one.
win.
Yeah.
And the stream ends with a Merit Lage.
Out with a bang, not a whimper.
Yeah.
As it should. All right, here we go. I'm going to...
Drop on in here. This way, there's no risk of teabagging at all.
I got a plumber's crack going right now. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, I can see it on the mirror behind you.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Man, we should do like a chroma key with like white, and then we could have ours like flying in space. That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Speculative at best.
Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, guys. Thank you for everybody that followed. Seriously, we really do appreciate that. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We post all of our old streams on there. So it's great if you want to go watch another match, try to figure out what the cards, whatever you want to do. Like our Facebook page, we appreciate that as well. We post a lot of deck lists from the night if there's a request for one onto it. We also post if we're running a little behind, all that kind of other fun stuff. // thank you for following. And then Twitter, I say funny things on there sometimes, or I guess we do collectively as a group. And then... God, what was I going to say? Oh, and guys, if you liked the giveaway, please go to MTG Card Market's Facebook page, like their page, let them know. Well, we already gave that away. Don't show it again.
That's what it was.
Let them know
It's
that you guys
gone.
like the giveaways and that you want to see bigger and better giveaways. It'll really help us out, and we'll be able to continue doing those, which will be absolutely great. Other than that, Tybalt the Fiend Blooded, thank you for following as well. Yeah, past that, I think we're done for tonight.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and thanks for making it a great night.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we'll talk to you guys later. We'll see you guys on Monday for some more Legacy, and then Wednesday for some Modern after that, and then Thursday again for more Legacy. So, all right, guys. We'll see you Monday, 7 o'clock Central Time. Goodbye. Where'd the mouse go?